Chapter 371. If one of them dies, the other one will not live alone. The color and shape of this pair of main stones are very similar. It is very rare to find a pair of jade stones that match each other so well. Look at the color of this one, it is exactly the same as this one. It is very difficult to find. The male is on the left, and the female is on the right. Since Mrs. Li likes it, you can take it with you. Su Qianxi really liked it, especially after hearing the meaning of the boss, she liked it even more. Wrap it up, Li Xicheng said. Su Qianxi looked at him suspiciously. Do you know how to wear it? This is not only a necklace, but also a brooch. Mr. Li, you can wear it as a brooch. With this, you won't look girly. The shopkeeper hastily took something out from under the table, and with a few twists and turns, turned the necklace into a brooch. Li Xicheng actually didn't like it. It was obviously something that girls would like. Why would he wear it? However, it was rare for Su Qianxi to like something, so she decided to buy it first. Su Qianxi took the brooch, turned around, and put it on the left side of Li Xicheng's coat. Yes, very handsome. Su Qianxi smiled brightly and put the necklace on her neck. She turned around and asked, "Does it look good?" "Yes," Li Xicheng said without thinking. Su Qianxi pouted. Perfunctory. Li Xicheng curled his lips and added, "Mrs. Li looks good no matter what." Showing off, the staff of the jade shop were so jealous that they wanted to scratch the wall. The shop owner was experienced. He calmly took Li Xicheng's card, swiped it, and respectfully sent the customer away. Su Qianxi walked around the mall but still could not think of anything to give Grandpa. She frowned. Don't rush. Take it slow. There are still a few days. Thinking of her previous lifetime, every time she gave Grandpa something, he did not seem to like it very much. Otherwise, she could use that as a reference. Suddenly, Su Qianxi had an idea. She looked up, her eyes sparkling. Mr. Li, I got it. Yes? I will make a longevity peach for Grandpa. Longevity peach? Yes, yes. She gestured with her hand. It's a peach this big. It's actually a bun. If I made it myself, would Grandpa be very happy? Yes. This is it then. She breathed a sigh of relief. But is it too cheap? Should I buy something else? How could your kind intentions be cheap? If she personally made something for him, he would treasure it like a priceless treasure. Li Xicheng's eyes became softer as he rubbed her head. Since you've thought of it, come with me to O Ming's place. O Ming? So far, Su Qianxi had only seen him a few times. In a real sense, they had only met once. The last time she had a miscarriage and was hospitalized. Yes, he's going to propose to that woman and bring her out to meet people. That woman? Yu Lily? Su Qianxi blinked. Yu Lily will not agree. Li Xicheng glanced at her. You know her quite well. We've been classmates for 3 years, after all. More importantly, she clearly knew that Yu Lily did not marry O Ming at all. She even died in his hands. The 3rd chapter. I've written a lot in the past 2 days. I tried to update it all at once, but everyone thought I didn't. I tried to redress the injustice, but I was scolded. It's not easy to write a book. Please read it and cherish it. Notice, next Tuesday, 25th, the book will officially go on sale for a fee. There will be 30 to 50 chapters. After that, there will be a minimum of 8,000 chapters. There will be frequent updates. Thank you for your support. Recommending October Night Whaleyang's excellent novel, My Beautiful Wife. See you tonight. Xiao Xiaoxia cried, since I married you, I've been in trouble every day. Chapter 372. Not a good thing. Li Xicheng reached out and touched her nose. Don't get too close to that woman. You will be led astray. She flinched and held his hand with a smile. I won't. You will teach me well. Li Xicheng was very satisfied with her flattery and put his big hand around her waist. They are in Palace 1. Let's go. Palace 1 was in the center of Kingstown, an entertainment venue owned by O Group. When they arrived at room 888, O Ming was holding a woman in his arms and singing a love song. They were singing Zhang Xueo's Lovesickness in the Wind and Rain. It was a classic old song, and both of them had good voices, but Luo Zhan was sitting on the side like an idiot. Seeing Li Xicheng coming in, Luo Zhan was happy at first, but when he saw his wife behind him, he suddenly became depressed. She threw herself onto the sofa, her face full of grief and indignation as she shouted, "Why did I have to keep the appointment?" However, no one heard his cry at all. Li Xicheng sat down with Su Qianxi, picked up a pillow, and threw it at Luo Zhan's face. Luo Zhan was killed on the spot. After the song, O Ming put down the microphone and walked toward Li Xicheng. "Qianqian, come sing." Yu Lily called. "I remember you were a microphone hog in high school. Do you know how to sing, actress?" "Yes." Su Qianxi immediately stood up and trotted over excitedly, picking up the microphone that O Ming had just put down. "Come on." The familiar melody sounded, and when O Ming's face appeared on the big screen, Su Qianxi looked even more excited. Yu Lily gestured to her, indicating that she should sing first. A low female voice sounded, and the voice was very beautiful. "Keep it simple." O Ming looked at the two women and couldn't help but laugh. He picked up the cigarette on the table and threw one to Li Xicheng, asking, "Have you eaten?" "No." Li Xicheng took the cigarette and let O Ming light it for him. Well, O Ming took a drag and slowly exhaled. "Let's go eat later." Li Xicheng glanced at him, then his eyes fell on Yu Lily. "Are you serious?" he asked out of nowhere. O Ming bit the cigarette with a smile in his eyes. "Yeah. Your dad won't agree. I'm the one marrying him, not him. He can't control me." "By force?" "I can't." Li Xicheng took a puff of the unsmoked cigarette, flicked the ash, and said ambiguously, "After getting married, things will be different. F***ck off. I've had her for 3 years and slept with her for 2 years. I'm just missing a certificate." "What's the difference?" Luo Zhan leaned over and listened. "That woman's heart isn't with you. She'll run away sooner or later." O Ming was speechless. He took a deep drag of the cigarette and looked into her eyes as if he wanted to suck her in like a cigarette. It wasn't that he hadn't thought about this before. But what if? Yu Lily didn't know what to do. If she got married and had children, it would be a different story. "Why don't we coax her to give birth to a child first, and then marry her? Isn't that better?" Luo Zhan leaned over and said. O Ming glanced at him and said helplessly, "When I don't wear a condom, she will take medicine." "Then she won't take it if you wear it?" "Nonsense, why would she take medicine if she wears a condom?" Luo Zhan leaned over and whispered, "Then you wear it and poke a few holes on the condom." Fourth update. All 4 groups were full, and there were still more than 100 messages that hadn't passed the review. It doesn't matter if you can't join. Anyway, I don't plan to create another group. After it's online, there will be a VIP group, and there will be various benefits. Seeing that many people were asking about the fee, 1 chapter equals 1,000 words equals 0.05 yuan equals 5 book coins, 1 yuan equals 100 book coins equals 20 chapters, 1 bottle of mineral water equals 200 book coins equals 40 chapters. If everyone's level is higher, it may only be 3 to 4 book coins per chapter. It's very cost-effective and cheap. After the fee, there will be a minimum of 8 chapters per day. Generally, there should be 10 chapters. Of course, if people think it's too expensive, I can have less. If not, I can have more. Chapter 373. Hearing that, Ming said, insidious. Good idea. Li Xicheng agreed. It's best to change her medicine. You are more insidious. Luo Zhan looked contemptuous. Stop pretending. We are all jackals of the same tribe. I am not. Li Xicheng pushed him away. Ming also looked at him contemptuously. Me neither. Luo Zhan was speechless. After singing a song, Su Qianxi and Yu Lili saw the three men together and glanced at each other. Yu Lili looked down. What are they talking about? I don't know. Hey, do you think that Luo Zhan looks gay? He doesn't have a girlfriend, and he is so close to them. Pfft. Su Qianxi couldn't help but spit into the microphone. The three men looked over, and Su Qianxi quickly put down the microphone and whispered, no way, he looks quite normal. Abnormal, okay? You see, he is also good-looking. He is already 26 years old. Why hasn't he been in a relationship? If it is not a physical problem, it is a psychological problem, or a brain problem. Ha 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 ha. Su Qianxi laughed mercilessly. The three men quickly dispersed and went to dinner with the two women. However, after Yu Lili said that, Su Qianxi's look at Luo Zhan became a bit strange. She heard that gay people would walk with their legs clamped, so she deliberately walked a little slower to look at his walking posture. She heard that gay people like to wear tight pants, and she heard, Su Qianxi's expression was strange, and Li Xicheng immediately found it. He put his arm around her waist and whispered, "What's wrong?" Su Qianxi shook her head and coughed. Was she being too obvious? When they arrived at the private room that Ming had booked, when they were ordering, Yu Lili asked casually, "Does Luo Zhan like sweets?" What? Luo Zhan was flattered to be mentioned. Is caramel pudding okay? Okay, thank you, sister-in-law. Su Qianxi silently noted that Luo Zhan liked sweets. Seeing Yu Lili's gaze, she also joined in the line of questioning. Do you usually exercise? Yes, what sports do you like? Swimming, volleyball, tennis, It's over. All of them. Su Qianxi wailed, looking at him with some pity. Hearing Su Qianxi's words, Yu Lili almost laughed out loud. She covered her face with the menu and laughed so hard. Li Xicheng and Ming suddenly understood and couldn't help laughing. Luo Zhan was speechless, but when he saw that everyone was laughing, he felt as if an arrow had been shot in his heart. He roared with grief and indignation, "I'm a straight man." The waiter who came in to order couldn't help but laugh when he heard that. Luo Zhan's heart sank. It was bad enough that he was a single dog, but he even had to be questioned about his sexual orientation. His days were too king miserable. He stood up decisively, turned around, and left. Ming smiled and asked, "Hey, where are you going?" "Toilet." "There's a toilet in the room." "I'll go outside." Luo Zhan angrily walked to the bathroom outside, unzipped it, and fired it into the urinal. At this time, a young man who looked gentle came in from outside. Wearing a blue suit and a pair of rimless glasses, his facial features were handsome, and his temperament was clean. He looked a little weak, but he was still tall. Luo Zhan glanced at his crotch, then looked at himself, and pouted. This is what King Gay is like. His temperament is off the charts. With his size, how could he be considered a man? It's a new week, please vote. La 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 la. Chapter 374. With his size, he could be regarded as a man. The man in the suit clearly felt the gaze from the next door, and he was a little scared. He finished it as quickly as possible, and did not even dare to shake it off. He just zipped up and turned to wash his hands. Luo Zhan also finished and walked over. When he was washing his hands, he inadvertently glanced at the water stains under the blue suit. While washing his hands, he kindly reminded, "Dude, your crotch is wet. When the young man heard that, he suddenly shivered and did not dare to wash his hands. He turned off the faucet and immediately turned away. It was a terrible year to meet a pervert in the bathroom. Luo Zhan saw his reaction and was angry, shouting, "Hey, what do you mean?" The young man just pretended not to hear, and in a hurry, he did not notice the water on the ground. He slipped and almost fell. Fortunately, he held the door frame, or he would have fallen very badly. Luo Zhan saw this scene, was even more angry, and reached out to put his hand on the man's shoulder. The man immediately turned around, slapped his hand away, and said angrily, "I am a straight man." Luo Zhan was speechless. Suddenly, he felt like thousands of arrows were piercing his heart, making him feel that there was nothing left to live for. Gritting his teeth, Luo Zhan was a little angry, "Which eye of yours saw that I am gay?" The man in the suit had a look of disgust on his face, reached out and slapped Luo Zhan's hand away, and hurried away. "Damn, what the hell?" Luo Zhan cursed and watched him walk in the direction of the box where they were. Yu Lily came out to make a phone call. At a glance, she saw the man, and her eyes lit up, shouting, "Louis Han." When Louis Han saw her, there was surprise in his eyes, but soon he smiled and said, "What a coincidence, you also come here for dinner." "Oh, so you know each other?" Luo Zhan came up from behind. "Sister-in-law, introduce me." "Sister-in-law," the smile on Yu Lily's face froze, and her face became cold. "Who is your sister-in-law?" "Don't call me that." Luo Zhan was taken aback. Didn't he call her sister-in-law all morning? She also happily answered. Why did she have such a big reaction now? "This is my high school classmate, Louis Han. Let me introduce you. This is Luo Zhan, Hacker Z, I've heard a lot about you," Louis Han said. Luo Zhan smiled and reached out to him, but Louis Han looked at his hand and frowned, but did not reach out. He glanced at Yu Lily and said, "I have a client, so I won't say much." "Okay, go do your work." After Yu Lily finished speaking, Louis Han turned around and left, without any intention of paying any attention to Luo Zhan. Luo Zhan was a little embarrassed and angry. Did this kid really think he was gay? F***ck. What an injustice. Luo Zhan felt that it was necessary for him to find a girlfriend to calm down. No, he should go to a nightclub and find a beautiful girl to break his virginity. Otherwise, he would be suspected all the time, and his heart would be filled with grief. During the meal, Luo Zhan felt the most aggrieved. Being taken care of by two good sisters and being ridiculed by two good brothers, he could not lose his temper. Otherwise, these two henpecked men would kill him at any moment, making him look like a stuffed biscuit. When O Ming suggested going to the leisure club under his name, Luo Zhan immediately found an excuse to escape. Going downstairs and driving, Luo Zhan saw a familiar figure on the side of the road. Cheng Yu was holding a stack of documents, as if waiting for the bus. Luo Zhan's eyes lit up, stopped on the side of the road, and shouted, "Assistant Cheng, where are you going? Get in the car." Cheng Yu immediately got in the car with the documents. Luo Zhan drove and asked, "Where is the car that Lao Er gave you?" "Oh, don't talk about it. It broke down and was sent to be repaired." "Bad luck." "Oh." Luo Zhan responded, a little struggling in his heart. After a long while, he turned his head and said, "Assistant Cheng, you don't have a boyfriend yet, right? What do you think of me?" Cheng Yu was speechless. Luo Zhan smiled brightly, leaned on the steering wheel with what he thought was his most handsome face, bowed his head, and asked, "I'll treat you to dinner tonight. Do you want a date? Ask you out for a dead head. Wan Lily, Mr. Luo, are you happy?" "Luo Zhan, why are you treating me like this? I don't accept it." Chapter 375. Tang Zhenghao's detective only saw Li Xicheng's face in the video, and Li Xicheng did not mention a word about Tang Menjing from beginning to end. His original plan to send Li Xiqing to prison failed, and he suffered the consequences of his own actions. Tang Zhenghao made a prompt decision and put all the blame on Mrs. Tang. He returned to the company to deal with the company's affairs and try to get his wife out. Finally, after paying a high price to make Li Xiqing's lawyer lose the case, Mrs. Tang came out of the police station 5 days later. This matter had a great impact on the Tang Group. The shareholders held a shareholders' meeting and strongly demanded an explanation from Tang Zhenghao. After Tang Zhenghao finally appeased the shareholders, he encountered another problem. The raw materials imported from Germany had been approved by the customs, but some of them needed to be detained and released after they were all checked. Tang Zhenghao did not dare to disobey. He hurried to show his sincerity and got the materials back. However, at this time, Xiaofan called and asked to ship some of the finished products first. When Tang Zhenghao had a headache and asked for 2 more days, Xiaofan's tone changed. I have already ordered this batch of products from you. You said you had them in stock, which is why I gave you such a big order. Now you are telling me that it is not ready yet. How can I explain it to my superiors? You can't say that. It is not the first time we have cooperated with Xiaofan, it's because it's not the first time we've worked together that I trust you so much. The higher-ups originally intended to give it to the Li Group. I gave you such an important order because I think highly of you. Now you're telling me that you can't get it? Don't tell me you've forgotten what was written in the agreement some time ago. Tang Zhenghao felt even more headache and quickly said yes. Then I will give you 2 more days. If the goods are not delivered by then, I will consider it as a breach of contract. Tang Zhenghao's face changed dramatically and he exclaimed, 2 days? How? How was it possible? Before he finished, the phone had been hung up. Preposterous, preposterous. Tang Zhenghao was so angry that he paced back and forth on the spot. He picked up his phone and was about to call back, but the call was immediately hung up. He stomped his feet and simply called the factory that was rushing to work. Hurry up and recruit people. Overtime. We must get the first batch out within 2 days. That penalty fee. Even if he lost his entire company, it still wouldn't be enough. Tomorrow was Grandpa's birthday party, and Su Qianxi finally bought a gift for Grandpa on the last day. Li Xiqing was not back yet. Su Qianxi had dinner, took a shower, and studied in the living room. When Li Xiqing came back, it was already past 9 p.m. Seeing him coming back, she put down the book and asked, "Have you eaten?" "Not yet." "Okay, take a seat. I'll heat up some food for you." "Okay." He looked at her softly. "I'll go take a shower first." After Su Qianxi heated up the dishes, Li Xiqing came downstairs, wearing only a rabbit fur robe. She hugged her thick coral velvet pajamas. Seeing him dressed like this, she asked, "Aren't you cold?" "I'm not cold. Eat with me." "Yeah." She sat down. "You haven't finished that thing yet?" "Almost. I'm dealing with the acquisition of Tangkor." "Acquisition of Tangkor?" Su Qianxi's eyes widened. "Tang Zhenghao's Tangkor?" "Yes, Tangkor is bankrupt." Kids who have written long reviews can join Lily's harem 5937277013. The administrator will teach you how to do it. If you haven't written a long review, please behave. P.S. Impromptu reviews do not count. Chapter 376. Su Qianxi gasped and asked incredulously, "Why so sudden?" "Not sudden." Li Xiqing looked up, and there was some softness in his deep eyes. "I have been planning for more than 2 months, and I just closed the net a few days ago. I took over the order from Xiaofan and Tang Group." It was rare for him to patiently explain to her. His voice was deep and mellow, no different from usual. However, Su Qianxi felt a bit distressed. He had been as busy as a top these days and must be exhausted. It was a few minutes later when he finished. Su Qianxi gasped and felt a little scared. No way, such a big mess, and you dare to take it on. Xiaofan screwed Tang Zhenghao over. Don't let them screw us over too. Don't worry. The vice president of Xiaofan is Qin. Su Qianxi's eyes widened. Mom's family? Yes, my uncle. No way. It was the first time that Su Qianxi's brain worked so fast. You and your uncle set Tang Zhenghao up? Li Xicheng paused and poked her forehead. Am I such a sinister person in your eyes? Su Qianxi's face darkened slightly. Su Qianxi nodded without hesitation. Li Xicheng narrowed his eyes and said, this is called outsmarting him. Tang Zhenghao asked for it. You're lying. How dare you say you are not sinister? Li Xicheng was in a very good mood. Curling his lips, he finished the last mouthful of soup and waved at her. Come here. What? Although she asked, she still walked over. He pulled her, and she fell into his arms. Su Qianxi's heart raced. Looking at his hungry eyes, she already knew what he wanted to do. Sure enough, Li Xicheng put an arm around her waist and said, Mrs. Li, let's try it in the kitchen. Su Qianxi suddenly felt numb and immediately struggled. No. Let's go back to the room. I heard it's very exciting. Let's try it. I heard. It must be O Ming again. In the past few days, because of what he had heard, he had taken her to the living room and the balcony. Su Qianxi was reluctant. But in the end, she still couldn't resist his coercion and was directly pressed against the refrigerator door. In the end, she surrendered under his ferocity. She hung on him, panting, for fear of falling. He hugged her and whispered in her ear, today is your ovulation period. Let's have a baby, Mrs. Li, Su Qianxi had no time to refuse and was attacked by him again, unable to fight back. Captain Li's 70th birthday was arranged at the only 6-star hotel in Kingstown. The invited guests were all personally selected by the old master himself, and they were all important figures of the older generation. At 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, most of the guests had arrived, and the scene was very lively. In the kitchen of the hotel, Su Qianxi took out the peach with a thick pair of heat-resistant gloves and exclaimed, "It smells so good." Li Xicheng smiled. Grandpa will be very happy to see it. Su Qianxi couldn't help smiling as well. She carefully put the peach on a white porcelain plate and decorated it according to the chef's instructions. Li Xicheng's phone rang. It was Laurel, who was guarding Tang Menjing. Picking up the phone, he heard a hurried voice. "Sir, it's bad. Miss Tang's water broke. I'm afraid she's going to give birth. Weibo has been opened. She will often post new updates and small spoilers on Weibo. After she goes online, she will set up a VIP group. Everyone can follow her content, and the group number will be announced. Weibo name, Uncle Wan Lily. If you can't find him, please search for him at least 30 chapters, I'll try to post more, after 010. I recommend Su Gemo's new book, Hot Little Sweetheart, Big CEO, Don't Come Here. Chapter 377. Sir, bad news. Miss Tang's water broke. I'm afraid she's going to give birth. Li Xicheng's eyes flashed, so bright and sharp that Su Qianxi couldn't help but look at him. Although he was still expressionless, she could tell from the slight smile on his face that he was in a better mood than before. Okay, have Hunter take her to the first hospital. Yes, sir, Laurel said. Hanging up the phone, he looked at Su Qianxi and whispered, Tang Menjing is going to give birth. Su Qianxi's eyes widened, she could not believe it. Only 7 months. She's making trouble every day. Premature birth is expected. Li Xicheng said, picked up his phone and dialed Cheng Yu's number. Kingstown First Hospital, Tang Menjing is going to give birth prematurely as planned. Cheng Yu immediately calmed down and became excited, shouting, "Yes, boss." Seeing him hang up the phone, Su Qianxi asked, "Are you going to see it?" "You'll see it in a bit." "What did you do?" "You'll know in a bit." With a smile on his lips, Li Xicheng was about to say something when he heard someone shouting outside, "Xicheng, come out and see us. So many elders are looking for you. Don't hide inside. Are you afraid that people do not know how much you love each other?" It was Li Beixing. Su Qianxi blushed slightly, and her heart was overflowing with sweetness. "I'm going out." "Okay." Su Qianxi nodded with a smile and began to play with the birthday peach in front of her. "I want to be the finale." Li Xicheng's smile deepened, reached out to rub her hair, and turned to go out. Su Qianxi fixed the decoration and asked the chef to put it away to keep warm. It was cold, and she did not want Grandpa to eat a cold birthday peach, which would not be good. After everything was done, Su Qianxi walked out of the kitchen and into the public bathroom outside. In order to make a birthday peach, she had been holding back for a long time. When she came out of the bathroom and was washing her hands, a waitress came in. When she saw Su Qianxi, she was pleasantly surprised and said, "Mrs. Li, right?" "Yes." Su Qianxi looked at her while washing her hands. "Mr. Li was looking for you just now. I think you're in the bathroom. He asked me to bring you to Hall 888 to wait for him." Su Qianxi smiled happily and wiped her hands dry with 2 pieces of tissue. She turned around and said, "Okay, thank you. I'll take you there. It's a bit far." "Well, thank you." The hotel was very large. In addition to the largest banquet hall, there were countless smaller halls and private rooms on this floor. The waiter took Su Qianxi around a corridor, and there were fewer and fewer people around. Su Qianxi's feet were sore. Looking at the room numbers around her, she muttered, "Why is it so far?" The waiter smiled and said, "Mr. Li said he wants to give you a surprise. You'll know when you arrive." Hearing that, Su Qianxi's smile widened and she quickly followed the waiter to room 888. "We're here. I'll take my leave first." "Thank you." Su Qianxi thanked him and walked in. However, the room was empty. The cutlery was perfectly placed, and there was no trace of it having been opened. She felt something was wrong and called, "Mr. Li?" No one answered. Su Qianxi walked in and found a large garbage truck in the corner. How could there be such a thing in a private room of a hotel? Su Qianxi had a bad feeling and wanted to run away. However, a strong force suddenly grabbed her neck. She struggled, and her first reaction was to scream. Chapter 378. Kingstown First Hospital. The hospital had been open for decades, and it was not that the hospital had never received a premature birth, but it was the first time that a premature birth could attract so much attention, even for the old doctors who had worked for more than a decade. Outside the delivery room, there were more than 10 people gathered. Although they were separated by a screen, it was obvious that some of them were secretly filming, some were doing a live broadcast, and some were preparing a press release at the last minute. Cheng Yu personally came to watch in case of any accidents. God knew how long she had waited for this moment. Tang Menjing was a mistress, and everyone had the right to punish her. She had seen her boss being wronged by this woman with her own eyes. It was all because of Tang Menjing that the boss's wife almost divorced her boss. It was all because of this child. Now that the highlight was finally here, Cheng Yu was excited. As long as the child was born and a paternity test was done in front of everyone, then Tang Menjing would have nothing to say, right? At that time, the entire Kingstown would know what kind of person Tang Menjing was. The sound of slapping people in the face was simply refreshing. There are too many people. Don't all pile up here. A nurse said impatiently. Go out and wait. What's so interesting about giving birth? Cheng Yu consciously shrank to the back. One of the reporters from the news agency gestured for her to keep quiet. There were more than a dozen people at the scene, but no one made a sound. Seeing this, the nurse knew that they could not be driven away and went directly into the delivery room. There were footsteps outside, which were somewhat familiar. Cheng Yu looked over and saw it was Rong Rui. Seeing that it was him, she froze and shouted, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Seeing his first love giving birth, he wouldn't come to ruin it again, would he? Rong Rui looked at Cheng Yu, his sharp eyes slightly softened, and said, "I'm here to end it." "End it?" Cheng Yu repeated. When she came back to her senses, Rong Rui had already taken out a card from nowhere. After swiping the card, he opened the door of the delivery room and walked in. Cheng Yu's eyes widened and blurted out, "Damn, how dare he!" As soon as Rong Rui pushed the door in, the doctors in the delivery room all looked over. "Hey, you can't just come in. Get out!" A nurse shouted in horror and came up to chase him away. But Rong Rui didn't care. He walked up and shouted, "Menjing, it's me." Tang Menjing screamed in pain, but when she heard Rong Rui's voice, her eyes lit up and she shouted, "Rong Rui, Rong Rui." Tears fell uncontrollably. She reached out to him. "Rong Rui, I'm here. Let him in." "No, this is the delivery room. Get out of here." "No, let him in, or I will not give birth." Tang Menjing yelled, her face pale and her forehead covered in cold sweat. The pain made Tang Menjing dizzy, and she could barely see anything. She didn't know how Rong Rui negotiated with the doctor. 10 minutes later, Rong Rui walked over wearing protective clothing and a mask, looking down at her. Tang Menjing's legs were stretched apart. From Rong Rui's angle, he could see the blood flowing down. Chapter 379. Every time, when she needed him the most, he would be there for her. Handsome, like a god, he would help her solve everything. However, she was blinded by Li Xicheng, the man who was not destined to belong to her. During the time she was imprisoned, she had thought about many things. Many things. If she could do it all over again, she would not pester Li Xicheng and would cherish the person in front of her. Fortunately, there was still a chance for her to turn the tables. After giving birth to the illegitimate child, she would settle down and be with Rong Rui. Tang Menjing smiled, holding Rong Rui's hand, and called, "Rong Rui, yes." Rong Rui held her hand back, but his eyes were no longer full of love. Tang Menjing was in pain and did not notice the slight change in Rong Rui. The nurse's hands kept pushing her belly. Tang Menjing turned her head and said, "You know, during this time, I have thought a lot." Rong Rui held her hand and did not speak. "After I give birth, when I go back, I will marry you." Tang Menjing gasped, sweating. "Don't talk," the nurse shouted. Tang Menjing held Rong Rui's hand tightly and did not listen to the nurse. With a pale face, she struggled to ask, "Okay? Last time you proposed to me, I did not say yes. Now, I say yes, okay." Rong Rui held her hand, wearing a mask on his face. His eyes were cold, and his voice was slow. "No." Hearing that, Tang Menjing widened her eyes and stared at him. Rong Rui's eyes were cold, looking at her. "Rong Rui has been killed by you. Have you forgotten?" Tang Menjing's heart seemed to be clenched tightly, so painful that she could not breathe. Looking at him, she felt extremely unfamiliar. Was this Rong Rui? Was this the man who once vowed to protect her for the rest of her life? He once said that whether she loved him or not, he was willing to be with her. He said it with his own mouth. However, at this moment, Rong Rui's eyes were cold. There wasn't even the slightest bit of tenderness and love from before. Why did it turn out like this? Tang Menjing's body trembled violently. The doctors and nurses were shocked and shouted, "Do not affect the patient's mood." Rong Rui did not listen and continued, when you chose Li Xicheng and me and pushed me to the bodyguards, I was already dead. I committed suicide in the villa you lived in. Do you remember? Tang Menjing was in so much pain that she almost fainted, but her heart ached even more. She screamed, "Ah, scram! Get out!" A doctor pulled Rong Rui up and forcibly separated his hands. He lifted him up and kicked and pushed him out of the room. However, Tang Menjing's breathing became more and more rapid. Clutching the railing of the bed, she cried, Why? Rong Rui's words and attitude had easily shattered the belief that she had always held onto and firmly believed in. Rong Rui. Tang Menjing cried. Why, did you forget that Rong Rui was killed by your own hands? Have you forgotten? Oh no, the patient is having an emotional breakdown and is bleeding profusely, Chapter 380. When Rong Rui was kicked out, Cheng Yu saw him and immediately walked over. Seeing the blood on his protective suit, she asked, What's the situation? Nothing. Rong Rui was ready to leave. What the hell? Cheng Yu was a little angry and immediately followed. Then why did you go in? Did you give birth? No. You haven't given me the video you promised. I gave it to Luo Zhan. Rong Rui's voice was a bit cold. He took off his mask and protective suit while walking. Luo Zhan? Yes. Rong Rui took off his clothes, threw them away, and sat down on a chair in the hallway. He will broadcast it on Weibo. When the DNA comes out, your Mr. Li can be cleared. Cheng Yu felt a little angry at his indifference. Her face was red, and she turned to leave. However, her hand was suddenly grabbed. Turning her head, she saw Rong Rui's amber eyes staring at her. Her heart pounding, she looked at him. Rong Rui's expression was unclear. He said, I will take responsibility. You don't have to worry. Hearing that, Cheng Yu's face was stained with a layer of anger. She threw his hand away, raised her foot in high heels, and kicked him hard. She yelled, Screw you. I don't like men like you. Li Xicheng was surrounded. He was surrounded by elders that he had not seen for a long time, friends of his grandpa, friends of his father, and childhood playmates who always liked to tease him for being a blockhead. After toasting them one by one, Li Xicheng drank a dozen glasses of liquor in a row, and his face was a little red. After Li Xicheng was drunk, everyone asked him to bring his wife out to meet people. When it came to Su Qianxi, Li Xicheng's expressionless face became a bit soft. Some people keenly noticed this and started to make a fuss again. Li Xicheng could not win against them, so he picked up his cell phone and dialed her number. However, after a dozen rings, no one answered. Wait a minute, I'll go get her. Li Xicheng put down the glass, but suddenly thought of something. Don't get her drunk later. She can't hold her liquor well. In addition, she was not a good drinker. After getting drunk in the Maldives last time, he remembered it very well. Don't worry, I definitely won't force her down. If we can get you drunk today, it will be a success. Everyone burst into laughter. With their assurance, Li Xicheng felt reassured and walked toward the kitchen. However, there was no sign of her in the kitchen. Li Xicheng frowned and asked, Where is she? The chefs looked at each other and shook their heads. He picked up his phone and called again, but no one answered. He looked around and did not find Su Qianxi, which made him feel a bit panicked. There were only a few places she could have gone to. She didn't pick up her phone, and she couldn't be found either. What the hell was she doing? Oh Ming was hiding in a corner with Yu Lily. When he saw Li Xicheng walking back and forth a few times, he finally couldn't help but ask, Hey, what are you doing? My wife is missing, help me find her. Oh Ming snorted disdainfully. You're a grown man, and you're still afraid of getting lost? Did he go to the toilet? The one with the surname Yu, go look for him. Oh, wait a minute. You Lily walked to the bathroom to look for him. Li Xicheng's heart inexplicably sped up, a feeling he had never felt before. Chapter 381. The wind was howling, and it sounded like there was water. Li Xicheng called, "Su Qianxi." There was no answer. Li Xicheng looked at the phone and found it was Mrs. Li. However, why was no one saying anything? "Where are you?" Li Xicheng asked, but there was still no answer. The phone was hung up, and Li Xicheng was upset. When he was about to call again, he received an MMS message. Looking at the picture, it was a dark night with bright lights. It was the Kingstown River. Clicking on the download, it clearly showed that under the bridge, a woman was lying. Judging from her clothes and figure, it was definitely Su Qianxi. Li Xicheng's pupils shrank, and Ming took a deep breath. Before he said anything, Li Xicheng's phone rang. It was the number that sent the MMS message, Kingstown. He picked it up and heard a hysterical voice, "Li Xicheng." There was madness in the voice, and the familiar loud voice was hoarse and unpleasant. "It's you." Mrs. Tang laughed. "Are you surprised to see your wife in my hands?" Li Xicheng's jaw tightened, and his cold face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost, looking frighteningly dangerous. "What do you want?" His tone sounded calm, but it was a bit more emotional than usual. Mrs. Tang sensed it and smiled even more proudly. "Don't you know what I want? I asked for my daughter for so long, and I gave you time. You did not give me back my daughter, so I had to invite your wife over to educate her." Li Xicheng gritted his teeth and gestured at Ming. Years of tacit understanding made Ming understand immediately, and he arranged for someone to go to the Kingstown River to find Su Qianxi. "I have sent your daughter to the hospital. She is in the first hospital. Where are you? I will send someone to take you to see your daughter." "Bullshit. Do you think I will believe you? You cunning bastard. Don't think that I will fall into your trap. You are really powerful. Tang Zhenghao has lived for so many years, but he was also defeated by you. Why? Aren't you very proud? Come and take your wife back by yourself. If you come alone, I will give you a big gift." Ming widened his eyes and shook his head at him. "Don't go." Li Xicheng acted as if he did not see Ming's intention. Without hesitation, he asked, "Okay, where are you?" Mrs. Tang quickly gave him an address and said, "Come alone. Don't call the police. I have many men here. If you call the police, I can't guarantee what will happen. All right, give me 20 minutes. That place was very remote. It would take at least half an hour to get there from here." "Ha ha ha, you wish. 15 minutes. If you're any slower, I'll have to hire someone to serve her well." Disgusting. The anger in Li Xicheng's heart erupted like a volcano. However, at this time, he could only take a deep breath and say, "Okay, I'll be right there. Don't come over. They have guns." A sharp female voice came. It was Su Qianxi. "Ah." Li Xicheng's heart was about to jump. His calmness, which had been like a snow mountain for thousands of years, suddenly collapsed under Su Qianxi's scream. Chapter 382. Li Xicheng was so anxious that his eyes were red. Hearing the phone being hung up, he suddenly did not know what to do. Ming had known him for so many years and had never seen him like this. He was a bit dazed. But soon, he went up and restrained him, yelling, "Li Xicheng, calm down." Li Xicheng's hands were trembling slightly. It was so slight that even he did not notice it. However, Ming clearly noticed it. Holding Li Xicheng's hands, Ming was terrifyingly calm. "Li Xicheng, look at me." Li Xicheng looked up and suddenly grabbed Ming with great strength. He said, "Ming, I'm going out for a while. Don't tell Grandpa or anyone else about this. I'll be back soon with my wife. After that, he left Li Xiqing's hands and ran toward the elevator. Li Xiqing's mind was blank, and the only thing left in his mind was the string of numbers. 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Su Qianxi's sudden yell startled everyone around her, without any warning. The men watching her from both sides came up and covered her mouth. Mrs. Tang hung up the phone and kicked Su Qianxi hard, yelling, "Little bitch, shut up." Su Qianxi flinched and struggled. However, both his hands and feet were bound together. No matter how much he struggled, he couldn't move an inch. "Be good, and maybe I won't do anything to you. As long as your man gives me my daughter, I won't let anyone rape you. How about it? Isn't it a good deal?" Su Qianxi only felt a chill coming from all directions. Shaking her head desperately, she was surrounded by fear. "No, I can't. Nothing is impossible." Mrs. Tang raised the gun in her hand and patted Su Qianxi's face. She said with a smile, "Now you're scared? Beg me. Weren't you very arrogant at the door of the house? Beg me, and I will let you go." Su Qianxi's tears fell, and she curled up, biting her lower lip and staring at her. Mrs. Tang sneered, "You're quite stubborn." Then she looked at the man next to her and asked, "Is Monkey here?" "On the way." Mrs. Tang sneered at Su Qianxi, raised the gun, and wiped it. Looking relaxed, she asked, "Have you ever heard of HIV?" Su Qianxi was stunned. HIV, Su Qianxi's pupils shrank as fear and panic engulfed her. This was AIDS. "It seems that you know what this is." Mrs. Tang raised the gun and slowly loaded it. Pointing the black muzzle at Su Qianxi, she suddenly pushed it forward. Bang! Ah! Su Qianxi was so scared that she burst into tears. She immediately looked away, her body trembling because of the shock. The men laughed with Mrs. Tang. Su Qianxi gritted her teeth to stop herself from crying. Her body trembling, she stared at them with her dark eyes. Mrs. Tang enjoyed the look on her face. She stood up and kicked her. "What are you staring at, you little bitch?" She did not even dare to scream and curled up into a ball. "Why aren't you shouting? Keep shouting. Keep shouting." Mrs. Tang kicked Su Qianxi's legs and waist in high heels. Chapter 383. Perhaps because there was no response, Mrs. Tang felt a bit bored. Pursing her lips, she stopped and said, "Why is Monkey not here yet? It's been 3 minutes. I gave him 15 minutes. When he comes, he will think I'm too merciful if he doesn't see this little b*tch being f***. What did they want to do? What did they want to do?" Su Qianxi clenched her legs and tried to curl up. Mrs. Tang clearly saw her intention and sneered, "It's useless." A skinny man drove a motorcycle over and quickly stopped nearby. Su Qianxi felt cold and desperate, wrapping her tightly. This man must be Monkey the old woman had mentioned. This was the highway leading to the edge of the city. The vehicles coming here must be ready to go out of the city. At this moment, she could only hope that someone would pass by and save her before they did it. However, at this time, it was already dark, and the weather was so cold. Would someone really pass by and save her? The possibility was almost zero. "Boss, I didn't expect that after so many years of seclusion, you would come back. Our gang has been looking forward to your return. In the past few years, without your leadership, our performance has been getting worse day by day." Performance. A bunch of thieves. Talking about performance? Mrs. Tang used to be a thief. She had been locked up for a few years because of stealing. Later, she somehow hooked up with Tang Zhenghao and became the wife of a rich family. Sure enough, a dog could not change its habit of eating sh*t. Su Qianxi knew it clearly and was full of disdain. Hearing Monkey's words, Mrs. Tang sneered, "Didn't you see the news? My man is bankrupt, and my daughter is missing. Don't you think I'm back, you be asterisk cheese? Monkey was a bit surprised and said, isn't your daughter very popular? Look at this. Su Qianxi heard Weibo being refreshed. Monkey said, your daughter failed to seduce Li Xicheng and got F***ked by this foreign man. This is a hot topic on Weibo. It was posted less than an hour ago. Look, more than 600,000 likes and 200,000 comments. Looking at the video, Mrs. Tang's face became paler and paler. This was the video that was hacked by Rong Rui in Li Zhao's study. How could there be more? Why is he on Weibo again? Io, the latest news, your daughter has given birth. She had a cesarean section due to massive bleeding. Hey, what are you doing? That's my cell phone. Monkey shouted. Mrs. Tang picked up the phone and threw it at Su Qianxi's face. Su Qianxi's face was numb, and the dazzling light came into her eyes. She looked down at the text on the screen, post-cesarean section, no blood relationship with the Li family. Monkey walked over to pick up the phone, but when he saw Su Qianxi's face, his eyes widened. Boss, the surprise you said for me is this girl? Wow, so beautiful. Chapter 384. She was sick. HIV? Su Qianxi's face paled even more. She screamed and struggled, go away. Go away. Monkey licked his lips and chuckled. That woman was so F***king wicked. She did not even tell me that she was sick. I did not even wear a condom. F***ck. Now, no one in the industry dares to accept my business. Wait, don't tell me you gave me such good stuff because I'm sick. Otherwise, do you think you would have a chance? Ha 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 ha, it was worth it. Then he was about to lift Su Qianxi up. Mrs. Tang immediately held him down and said coldly, what are you doing? Getting a room. What do you mean get a room? We'll do it here. A man said as he threw a small bottle to him. Eat this. It'll help you ward off the cold and make you feel good. Monkey was even more excited. He rubbed his hands and said, do you want something wild? Oh, this will do. He picked up the bottle, opened the can, and swallowed it. Then he could not wait to take off his clothes. Su Qianxi clearly saw that under the monkey's clothes, there were dense red spots, which looked scarlet and scary. Mrs. Tang took out her cell phone and pointed the camera at them. Su Qianxi did not notice what Mrs. Tang was doing. She screamed in horror and tried to shrink back, begging, no, please, I can give you money. I can treat you. I can give you however much you want. Don't touch me. I beg you. Monkey took the medicine, and it soon began to work. His eyes were bright, and he could not wait to untie Su Qianxi's feet. Help. Ah. Is there anyone? Help me. Su Qianxi screamed, her voice extremely shrill and loud. Desperation was overwhelming. Su Qianxi had never been so scared. Even when she was pushed into the water by Tang Menjing in her previous lifetime, she had never been like this. Torture, desperation, humiliation, anger, but there was nothing she could do. The rope on her feet was untied. Su Qianxi's first reaction was to kick Monkey in the face. Oh, that smells good. I like it. Monkey chuckled and rushed over. Satisfied, Mrs. Tang stopped the video and sent it to Li Xicheng. The black luxury car sped through the highway, scaring many drivers away from it. Behind the car was a line of traffic police, but Li Xicheng still had no intention of stopping. 15 minutes, 15 minutes. 13 minutes had passed, but there was still some distance to go. Li Xicheng was so anxious that his eyes were red. It was the first time in his life that he was racing on the road, the first time that he was chased by the traffic police, and the first time in his life that he was so anxious to do something. Soon, soon, soon. Wait for me, you must wait for me. Pushing the accelerator to the maximum, the speed soared to 300 kilometers per hour, but it was still not enough, not enough. For the first time, Li Xicheng hated that he was not driving a sports car. Could he go faster, faster? Just at the intersection ahead, Li Xicheng saw a beam of headlights shining over and was shocked. While braking, he madly honked the horn and made a quick U-turn. The car instantly twisted and drifted, and the tires made a loud friction sound on the ground. If 1 million is not enough, then 5 million, enough for you to spend for the rest of your life, okay? Motherf ****. Mrs. Tang cursed and stepped on Su Qianxi's foot. Chapter 386. Monkey was a bit moved. Although this woman was beautiful, women were everywhere. 5 million, he had never seen so much money in his life. Mrs. Tang was furious and yelled, "Monkey, what are you waiting for? I am Mrs. Tang. It's only 5 million. I'll give it to you. When Li Xicheng comes, you won't have the chance to enjoy such a beautiful woman." The two men who had been knocked down by Rong Haiyue had already climbed up and rushed at him. Don't believe her. The Tang family is bankrupt. The Tang family has long been acquired by the Li family. She is nothing. If she had money, why would she go to such a cheap woman like you? Su Qianxi yelled. At the same time, the two men behind Rong Haiyue surrounded him. One grabbed his neck, and the other went around to his front and punched him in the stomach. Mrs. Tang was furious. Turning around, she walked toward Su Qianxi, grabbed her hair, and slammed her against the railing. Little bitch. His head banged against the stone, making a dong-dong sound. Rong Haiyue took a solid punch, but when Mrs. Tang turned around, he slammed his head against the man in front of him. Grabbing the hand behind him, he pulled Rong Haiyue over and hit the man in front of him. Mrs. Tang felt something was wrong and immediately turned around, but Rong Haiyue had already rushed over. Startled, she stepped back, and Mrs. Tang's hand shook, bang. A loud gunshot rang out. Ah! Su Qianxi was dazed. Hearing the gunshot, she trembled, especially when she saw the blood dripping down. Her eyes rolled back, she collapsed and lost consciousness. Mrs. Tang was scared and immediately pushed Rong Haiyue away. She looked down at the blood on her hand. Throwing the gun away, Mrs. Tang's hand was shaking. I killed someone. Mrs. Tang stared at Rong Haiyue. Rong Haiyue staggered, his face pale. Covering his bleeding arm, he picked up the gun in his hand. He was so calm that he did not look like someone who had been shot. He said, "Let her go." F***CKU. Someone behind him shouted and threw Rong Haiyue to the ground. Rong Haiyue fell hard to the ground, and the gun in his hand flew out. Not far away, a car drove over. Mrs. Tang was shocked and yelled, "Someone's coming." A few cars surrounded them from the left and right. They were still quite a distance away. Mrs. Tang was shocked. It must be someone sent by Li Xicheng. Damn it! Then he decisively went forward and lifted Su Qianxi, who had passed out. I told him to come alone, but he called so many people. He's forcing me to kill her. Mrs. Tang was fat, but she was strong. She lifted Su Qianxi to the railing of the bridge. Rong Haiyue was pressed down, and the man sat on him and punched him hard. Seeing this, his heart skipped a beat and he shouted, "What do you want to do? Die." Mrs. Tang threw her hard, and Su Qianxi's body quickly fell. Soon, there was a splash. When Rong Haiyue saw Su Qianxi being thrown into the water, the pain in his body seemed to disappear. There was only one thought in his mind, save her, save her. Chapter 387. 6 cars stopped and surrounded the place. Mrs. Tang had nowhere to run, and the 4 of them were arrested. "Where is she?" the leader of the group yelled. Mrs. Tang sneered, "Who is it? I don't know what you are talking about." "Boss, there is blood on the ground," someone yelled. "We did not find Mrs. Tang." There was blood on the ground, but no one was hurt. Looking around, a horrible idea suddenly came to his mind. The leader of the Li family immediately yelled, "Get into the water and find her." The black Maybach hit the railing, and Li Xicheng lost consciousness. He did not know how long it took for him to wake up. He was surrounded by traffic police and people. Seeing the cracked windshield, Li Xicheng moved and wanted to start the car again, but he could not. Finding his phone, he opened the door. Li Xicheng had a terrible headache. Blood was dripping from his forehead, and he felt itchy. Wiping it off, he stumbled in that direction. Almost there, Li Xicheng picked up his phone and immediately saw the message from Mrs. Tang. Running as fast as he could, he clicked on the download. However, he was so dizzy that he almost fell several times. Behind him, there were cars following him. Li Xicheng's mind was muddled, and he could not hear what they were saying. Stumbling for more than 200 feet, he finally saw several cars belonging to the Li family. At the same time, the download was finished. A heart-wrenching scream came from the phone, and Li Xicheng's heart skipped a beat. People on the riverside all looked over. Seeing Li Xicheng in this state, the Li family was shocked and hurried to hold him. "Mr. Li?" Looking at the video on the phone, Li Xicheng became more conscious and gloomier. "Where is she?" No one answered, but at the same time, a loud cry came from the river, "We did not find Mrs. Tang." The lights of the cars were still on. Li Xicheng glanced at the ground and the pool of blood was shocking. "What are you looking for?" "She is dead." Mrs. Tang laughed loudly. "Li Xicheng, you forced me to do this. You've ruined the Tang family's business and Tang Menjiang's best years. Aren't you great? Come on, let's continue." Staring at the pool of blood on the ground, Li Xicheng breathed heavily and his ears were ringing. "What are you looking at? Even the Heavenly King wouldn't be able to survive a shot to the heart. If you want to find it, go into the water. It's right there." "Coward, you don't dare, right?" "Ha ha ha." Mrs. Tang laughed arrogantly. Her voice was like a devil's voice, echoing in their ears and echoing with crazy provocation. 2 more people jumped into the water to help with the salvage. Li Xicheng heard the sound of the water and suddenly went crazy. His first reaction was to rush toward the river. The people around him turned pale with fright. They quickly held him down and shouted, "Someone's going down, he's going down." Li Xicheng seemed to have calmed down, and the man's voice became softer. "4 people have gone down. If you go down like this, you will only get yourself killed. Do you want Mrs. Tang to see your dead body when she comes back?" Perhaps the man's words worked. Li Xicheng calmed down. When he let go of the man, Li Xicheng rushed toward Mrs. Tang. A solid fist fell on Mrs. Tang's face. Mrs. Tang screamed and leaned back. She was caught again. Chapter 388. As he spoke, he kicked her in the stomach. "Mr. Li, you will kill her." The people around him were anxious. 2 men tried to pull him back, but he was like a wild horse, and they could not stop him at all. Li Xicheng had completely lost his mind. Punching and kicking, he hit Mrs. Tang so hard that she bent over. Li Xicheng's eyes were bloodshot, and his body kept moving. It took 4 men to subdue him. Suddenly, a low moan came from behind. It was the sound of a man's soul, which seemed out of place at this moment. A tall and straight soldier came up and stammered with a red face, "Boss, this person seems to have taken medicine, you see." Hearing that, Mrs. Tang sneered in pain. Everyone's gaze was attracted to her. She opened her mouth, revealing her teeth that had been dyed red with blood. Her voice was filled with madness and cruelty, like the curse of a demon. I wanted to let that little bitch enjoy herself, but I didn't expect you to bring so many people. I had no choice but to kill her in advance. It's you who killed your wife. Li Xicheng was even angrier, but at this moment, he calmed down. His eyes were as cold as frost, making Mrs. Tang's heart tremble. Since that's the case, keep it for yourself and enjoy it slowly. Li Xicheng's voice was cold, and Mrs. Tang's face suddenly paled. Take them to the car and let Mrs. Tang have fun. Yes, sir. Two men took Mrs. Tang to one of the cars. Mrs. Tang then realized that Li Xicheng was not joking. No, you can't. Li Xicheng, you little bastard, you will get what you deserve. You will definitely get your retribution. You will be struck by lightning, and you will not have a good. Before he finished speaking, he was stuffed into the car. Monkey was also stuffed in at the same time. One of them wisely drove the car to a remote place. The rest of Mrs. Tang's men trembled and said weakly, Monkey has AIDS. Her hands were tied. She might have woken up, but she might not have. The feeling of suffocation and coldness swept over her. She only felt it difficult to breathe, as if there was water flowing into her respiratory tract, so uncomfortable, so familiar. Rong Haiyue managed to catch her in the water and dragged her with all his strength. Fortunately, there was an underwater staircase not far away. Otherwise, Rong Haiyue could not guarantee how long he could last. Because of the cold weather, she was wearing too much. A thin down jacket that could hold water easily, a thick knitted sweater, and a long dress with a bottoms. Rong Haiyue noticed the cause of the strain and smiled bitterly. Crossing his hands, Rong Haiyue pressed on her chest. After about 7 or 8 times, she spat out a mouthful of water. She seemed to have regained consciousness. She tried to open her eyes, but the pain in the back of her head seemed to be connected to her eyes, and she could not open them. Rong Haiyue saw that she spit out the water and breathed a sigh of relief. He wanted to drag her up, but the injury on his hand was very unbearable. It was so painful that he could not lift a finger. Chapter 389. Rong Haiyue clearly noticed that his strength was getting weaker and weaker, and his head was getting dizzier. But he could not fall yet. This girl who looked very similar to Rong Xian, her facial features were exquisite. Although a bit pale, the outline was almost exactly the same as Rong Xian when she was young. Song Yifan's daughter. Rong Haiyue's eyes were slightly red, and he laughed at himself. After resting for a while, Rong Haiyue helped her up and said guiltily, I'm sorry. Looking away, he took off her down jacket that was bulging because of the water. Su Qianxi clearly felt that someone was taking off her clothes, but she could not muster any strength. She struggled to raise her hand, trying to resist. However, her hand was only slightly raised, and before it touched the intruder, it had already fallen. Don't touch me. No, tears slid down her eyes, but she could not muster any strength to resist. The sweater was also taken off. Her heart trembled as if struck by lightning, painful, numb, sour, and hot. No. She tried her best to squeeze out a little sound, but it was like a mosquito buzzing. Rong Haiyue could not hear what she was saying at all. Throwing the sweater away, Rong Haiyue quickly took off the coat that was dragging him down and said, Don't be afraid. It will be fine soon. Hearing this, Su Qianxi felt even more desperate. She suddenly felt her body was lifted, but then, no. No, please. Don't. Her consciousness completely disappeared. Rong Haiyue carried her on his shoulder, feeling that she was talking in her sleep. He climbed up as fast as he could and went ashore. The cold wind blew at night, and Rong Haiyue shivered, unable to help but shiver. Climbing up with difficulty, Rong Haiyue's legs were shaking terribly. No, he had no strength left. Rong Haiyue put her down and stumbled to the side of the road. At the same time, a van drove over, and the headlights were dazzling. Rong Haiyue staggered over, and it became darker and darker. He could not stand still, but there was an inexplicable strength in his heart. He moved extremely slowly to the middle of the road, waving his arms weakly. Seeing the van stopped, Rong Haiyue finally breathed a sigh of relief. The door opened, and a man in his 40s or 50s came out. Seeing him like this, he quickly held Rong Haiyue. "Help! There is someone behind. Save her." "I am a major general," Rong Haiyue, report. "I found some clothes. There are women and men." Being held down by several people at the same time, Li Xicheng could not move at all. Hearing that, he looked up and immediately saw a long beige down jacket. "Let me go," Li Xicheng said coldly. The people next to him looked at each other and let him go. Li Xicheng went up and took the wet clothes. It really belonged to Su Qianxi. This morning, he had personally helped her put on the down jacket. Also, that white sweater. At the same time, there were also men's clothes. Seeing the man's coat, Li Xicheng somehow felt a bit familiar. "I seem to have seen it somewhere before. An officer's certificate?" Li Xicheng's eyes flashed and he snatched it. The name Rong Haiyue popped into his eyes. Chapter 390. So cold, her whole body was so cold. Su Qianxi felt as if a few long centuries had passed, and her whole body was in pain. The back of her head hurt, her limbs, waist, and even her muscles hurt so much that she was about to go crazy. Cold and hot. It was so uncomfortable that Su Qianxi could not help whimpering and moaning. Vaguely, she felt as if someone had pasted something cold on her forehead, and she fell asleep again in a daze. When she opened her eyes again, it was bright. On the wall not far in front of her, there was an electronic clock, and the time was 17:17. Someone was watching TV in the next bed, and the nurse was giving the person on the left and 4. Seeing Su Qianxi woke up, she reached out and touched her forehead. "Still a fever, but you will be fine after you wake up." Su Qianxi was a bit dazed. She moved her body and felt pain all over. He let out a low moan and felt his entire body heating up. "Do you want some water?" The nurse poured her a cup of hot water, walked over, helped her up, and fed her. "How do you feel?" Su Qianxi's head was terribly dizzy. When she raised her hand, her muscles were in pain. "It hurts. You have a fever of 39.8 degrees. Of course it hurts." The nurse put her down and said, "Fortunately, your brain is not damaged. The person who came in with you was not so lucky. He is still in the intensive care unit." "You came in with me?" "Who? You don't know?" The nurse changed her medicine and said, "Yesterday, a kind-hearted uncle sent you here. I thought that person was your father or some relative. He looked to be in his 40s. He was shot and lost a lot of blood. He even dragged you out of the water. Otherwise, you would have been dead." Su Qianxi immediately thought of that person and whispered, "Rong Haiyue, oh yes, that's the name. I have called his wife to come over." The nurse changed the water. "I will get the medicine for you." "Thank you." Su Qianxi's voice was as low as a mosquito. His body felt as if it was being pulled, accompanied by waves of heat waves that assaulted him. Su Qianxi subconsciously moved her legs. The pain in his crotch was even more intense than the pain in his hand. With unspeakable fear and despair in her heart, she struggled to turn over, biting her fist, and burst into tears. She was raped by that monkey with AIDS. Ever since she was a child, she rarely got sick. She had never had such a high fever before. Was she also infected with HIV? What should she do? Was she about to die? But she was only 21 years old. She didn't want to die. She still wanted to give birth to Mr. Li's child. She still wanted to celebrate Grandpa's birthday. She still wanted to live a little longer. The more she thought about it, the more she couldn't stop her tears. Curling up, her shoulders trembled. This was an incurable disease. No medicine could cure him, and he would die a horrible death. In the face of sudden death, Su Qianxi was caught off guard and lost her mind. What would she do? What would she do? Su Qianxi bit her fist and sobbed, not daring to cry out loud. When the nurse came back, she was shocked to see her crying like that. What's wrong? Is it very uncomfortable? Here, take the medicine. Su Qianxi shook her head and was quickly helped up. The nurse poured her some hot water. Su Qianxi held a dozen pills of different colors and found it difficult to swallow. Chapter 391. Retching a few times, she spat out some stomach acid and nothing else. Since noon yesterday, she had only drunk a glass of water. She was so dizzy that not long after she lay down, she fell asleep again. When she woke up again, it was already past 8 p.m. Su Qianxi felt that her hand was held and moved, waking up the man who had fallen asleep. He reached over and touched her forehead, and then himself, frowning. Looking at him, she was a bit dazed. At this moment, Li Xicheng had 2 dark circles under his eyes, and even his chin was a little blue. His hair was messy, and he had changed his clothes, but he still looked a little dispirited. There was a piece of gauze on his head, just above his left eyebrow. However, as soon as she realized it was him, she pursed her lips, and tears of grievance immediately fell. He was scared and asked softly, "Are you feeling bad? What's wrong?" She burst into tears and grabbed his hand. It hurts all over." Li Xicheng frowned and reached out to wipe away her tears. However, she suddenly shrank back and yelled, "Don't touch me. HIV could be transmitted through fluids." Su Qianxi still knew this common sense. However, after avoiding his hand, she felt even more wronged and burst into tears. Biting her lower lip, she sobbed. He paused and looked at her. "What's wrong?" His deep and cold eyes were filled with worry. She finally couldn't hold it in anymore and burst into tears. Grabbing his hand, she said, "Mr. Li, I've been raped, I've got AIDS, I'm probably going to die. I might not be able to be with you anymore, not ever again in the future." However, when the words were on the tip of her tongue, she could not say it. Holding his hand, she cried like a child abandoned by her parents, desperate and sad. He helped her up, held her in his arms, and gently patted her back. She wiped her tears away with her sleeves, not letting them fall on him, and gently leaned over. Grabbing his neckline, she smelled him greedily, but her heart was even more sour and painful. "It's okay. That old woman has been arrested for intentional homicide. I will ask Sheng Shiming to help me with the case. I will definitely get a heavy sentence." Sheng Shiming was the most famous mouth in Kingstown. With him, even if Mrs. Tang had 3 heads and 6 arms, she would be sentenced to at least 10 or 20 years. "How did you find me?" Su Qianxi asked in between sobs. "I found you." Touching her head, his deep voice was soft and gentle. "Eat something. Grandpa just brought you porridge. He was going to stay with you, but I drove him away." She chuckled and patted him. "You are so naughty. If Grandpa knew you said that, he would definitely beat you up." He held her hand and tightened his arms around her. "Mrs. Li, yes. I thought I would never see you again." Li Xicheng's voice trembled, and his arms tightened. "Fortunately, you are fine. Fortunately." Chapter 392. Okay. He took 2 pillows and put them behind Su Qianxi to make her more comfortable. Then he went to get her some porridge. Su Qianxi hugged the quilt, and her eyes couldn't help but be filled with tears. Looking at him, she felt her heart wrench. Li Xicheng had never been so nice to anyone before. Even his grandpa had never been treated like this. He loved her. However, she couldn't afford it. Li Xicheng, Su Qianxi bit the quilt and whispered. He did not look back and responded, yes. His voice rose, and there was the joy of surviving a disaster in his deep voice. Su Qianxi heard his joy and hugged the quilt even tighter, calling again, Li Xicheng, yes. He looked back at her and found that she was already in tears, looking at him. Walking over with the hot porridge, he gently put it on the table and said gently, "It's okay. Don't cry." Then he reached out to wipe away her tears like before. Su Qianxi dodged and buried her head in the quilt. Her tears fell into the quilt. He thought she was scared after the event. But no, she was not afraid of that, not, "Good girl, eat some porridge." He reached out and gently lifted her face, scooped up a mouthful of porridge, and put it to her mouth. Su Qianxi opened her mouth and drank it gently. Her fever had just subsided a bit, but she did not have a good appetite. It took her more than 10 minutes to finish the bowl of porridge. Li Xicheng was not impatient at all. He gave her another bowl and forced her to eat it. She forced herself to eat the second bowl, but in the end, she really couldn't eat anymore, so he gave up and put it aside. "I need to go to the bathroom." "Okay." He picked up the down jacket he had brought for her and put it on for her. Then he lifted the quilt and carried her to the bathroom. This was a single VIP room with its own bathroom. After draining the water out of her body in the bathroom, she opened the door, and he picked her up and walked back. "I haven't washed my hands yet, don't get wet. There are wet towels." He carried her back, took out a pack of wet towels, and gave her one. Su Qianxi blushed and slowly wiped her hands. "Dirty guy. Now you are the dirty one." Li Xicheng arched an eyebrow and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How can you say that about me?" She threw the tissue into the trash can under the bed and looked at his forehead. "What happened to your head?" "I accidentally bumped into it." He reached out to help her take off her down jacket. "Lie down a little longer." Su Qianxi knew that he was trying to change the subject, so she pushed him and questioned, "Can you pretend to be like this if you're not careful?" "I'm unlucky. I'm bleeding, so I can only wrap it up." His voice was calm, but there was a hint of helplessness in it. "Okay, I'll just have to believe it." However, she still refused to take off her coat and said, Rong Haiyue saved me." "Yes, I know. Where is he now?" "He was shot. I heard he lost a lot of blood and is in the intensive care unit." "Yes, I went to see him. He's better than you." Chapter 393. After the wound was treated and the blood transfusion was done, there was no big problem. "I want to see him. Take me there." "It's not convenient." "What's not convenient?" Su Qianxi asked and then thought of something. She pouted and said, "What? He is old enough to be my father. I won't have anything to do with him." Hearing that, Li Xicheng felt a little helpless. He reached out and pinched her nose, saying, "In your eyes, am I this kind of person? Isn't it? I heard that his wife just arrived from the capital. He has been in Kingstown for half a month. They must have a lot to talk about." "Oh." Su Qianxi nodded. "Okay, take me to see him tomorrow." "Okay." He agreed and reached out to take off her coat. "Sleep a little longer." "I'm not sleepy." Su Qianxi pushed his hand away. "How long have you not slept? Look at your dark circles." Touching his face, she felt sorry for him. "Come up and sleep for a while." "I'm not sleepy. The bed is too small." "It's not small. I'll sit for a while." "No." She wanted him to sleep on the bed with her. "How about you go back to sleep?" "No." Then I'll leave the hospital. Let's go back together. No, your fever hasn't completely gone down. You had a high fever. Su Qianxi flared up. Then what do you want? Li Xicheng glanced at her and reached out to touch her forehead. With an imperceptible smile and affection in his eyes, he whispered, "You sleep. I'll watch over you." "No. Then you hold my hand. I'll sleep next to you." "No." "Then, how about we sleep together?" "No." Su Qianxi's first reaction was to refuse. "I have a cold. I'll pass it to you. I'm in good health." "No." More importantly, she was very likely to have AIDS now. "What if, that's it? You sleep, and I'll stay here." "You." Su Qianxi was annoyed and hit him. "Go back. I don't want you." He held her hand, his eyes darker, and his voice husky. "If you don't want me, who do you want? You're disobedient. You're also disobedient. I haven't even said that I don't want you." Su Qianxi was speechless. "Be good and sleep." Exasperated, she took off her coat and handed it to him. Li Xicheng got what he wanted and smiled. Hanging up her coat, he turned around and saw that she had moved to the side, leaving the seat next to her. "Come up and sleep." "Okay, Mrs. Li." He took off his coat and shoes, turned off the light, and climbed in. The moment he came up, he pulled her into his arms, lowered his head, and was about to capture her lips. Su Qianxi's heart skipped a beat and immediately looked away. Missing the kiss, Li Xicheng kissed her chin. "I'm sick. You can't kiss me. It's contagious. I'm in good health. I don't mind." "I mind." She moved away and pushed his face away. "Sleep well." "Yes." Li Xicheng put his arm around her waist and closed his eyes comfortably. Perhaps he was really exhausted, and he soon fell asleep. His breathing was even and steady. Su Qianxi put her hand on his face. Perhaps because she was too hot, he felt cold when she touched him. Chapter 394. After a long time, Su Qianxi gently removed his arm and got out of bed. The person in her arms was empty, and he did not wake up. He was sleeping soundly. Su Qianxi's heart ached even more. He must not have slept last night. Finding that she was missing, he must have been worried. However, this could not be the case. She could not stay with him all the time. Putting on her shoes and coat, Su Qianxi quietly opened the door of the ward and walked out. She was still worried. After all, Rong Haiyue had saved her life. If she did not see with her own eyes that he was fine, she would always feel a little uneasy. She asked a nurse and soon found out where Rong Haiyue's room was. Following the room number, Su Qianxi suddenly saw a woman walking toward her. This woman was mature and charming. She was wearing a long light green cheongsam and a dark green coat made of raccoon fur. Her long hair was combed into a charming bun. Her face was delicate and just right makeup, and her posture was straight and slender. She was a very special woman, and also a very charming woman. However, what caught Su Qianxi's attention was not her extraordinary temperament, but her face. She had seen that face before, and not just once. Rong Xian. That was Song Yifan's good days, the love of Sheng Ximing's heart. Su Qianxi's impression of her only stopped at the old photo in Song Yifan's wallet, which was a vibrant girl with a flowery smile. She never thought that one day, she would actually see the real person. When seeing Su Qianxi, the woman was obviously also dazed and recognized who she was at a glance. Rong Xian's expression was a bit indifferent. She nodded slightly at Su Qianxi, but it was just a polite greeting. In a flash, she walked around Su Qianxi in high heels. At the moment when she passed by her, Su Qianxi's heart was instantly set off a storm. Rong Xian. It was not a question, but a confirmation. Rong Xian stopped and looked over. Su Qianxi thought that she would ask, "How do you know my name?" Or, "Do you know me?" At the very least, he would ask, "Who are you?" However, to Su Qianxi's surprise, Rong Xian just glanced at her coldly. Her voice was cold and distant, without any warmth. She said, "Don't call me by that name. It's disgusting." After saying that, he turned around and left. Su Qianxi was dazed and looked at her back incredulously, watching her disappear at the corner of the corridor. Indifference. It was not the coldness of Li Xicheng, but an inexplicable malice. That kind of malice was like a sharp knife, cutting away the extravagant hope she had for her so-called mother. She was her mother. There was no doubt about it just by looking at his face. But why would she have evil intentions towards him? It was not until 10 seconds after Rong Xian left that Su Qianxi suddenly realized what she had done. She should have asked Su Qianxi why she abandoned Song Yifan, why she left alone, why she abandoned her daughter, why she married Li Xicheng, and why she became the illegitimate daughter of the Su family. Su Qianxi had a million questions in her heart, but because of that sentence, she forgot everything. Su Qianxi struggled to catch up, looking for Rong Xian in the crowd. Chapter 395. After searching for a while, Su Qianxi went back the way she came. She walked to Rong Haiyue's ward and knocked on the door. There was a quick response. "Come in." It was Rong Haiyue's voice. Su Qianxi walked in, and Rong Haiyue's eyes lit up. However, when he saw her, there was a trace of imperceptible disappointment in his eyes. He smiled and said, "It's you." It was this girl. He had almost mistaken her for someone else just now. Su Qianxi nodded and said sincerely, "Thank you for last night." "You're welcome. If it were someone else, I would have saved them as well." "So, it was not because you looked like her." Rong Haiyue said that to himself, but when he saw that face, his heart still ached. Su Qianxi walked over and glanced at his arm, which was obviously wrapped in gauze. She bowed deeply. "I'm sorry that you got hurt." Rong Haiyue quickly helped her up and said, "I said, if it were someone else, I would have saved them as well. In a situation like last night, I don't think anyone would sit back and do nothing. What's more, I am a soldier." "I know. It's good that you know. Soldiers are the embodiment of justice. As a soldier, if I did not even help when something like that happened, wouldn't it be too useless and a waste of my identity as a soldier?" Rong Haiyue pretended to be proud, but after he said that, he suddenly realized that he had unconsciously used the way he usually coaxed his daughter. Su Qianxi wanted to laugh, but she couldn't help tearing up. Thank you so much. You child." He chuckled, but his fists hidden under the quilt were slightly clenched. She was so similar, exactly like Rong Xian when she was young. Frank, pure, kind, and upright. What a good child, but why was she Song Yifan's daughter? Rong Haiyue was a bit disappointed. Looking at her, he pretended to ask casually, "Did your father come to see you?" "He is in London. My husband probably did not tell him about it." "Business trip? Performance? Oh. That's good. Mr. Song is a very good musician. Our neighbor's child especially admires him." Su Qianxi smiled, her eyes sparkling as she nodded. "I also admire him very much. My father is the best." "Yes." Rong Haiyue lowered his eyes to hide his loneliness. "Mr. Rong, is it convenient for you to give me your contact information?" Rong Haiyue was a little surprised, but he quickly agreed and turned to the table to flip through the paper. But there was no such thing. Rong Haiyue was a little embarrassed and said, "You should tell me your number. I will call you." She told him Li Xicheng's number and quickly added, "This is my husband's number. I don't know where my cell phone is. I will get a new card later." "Alright, can you tell me yours too? She then told him her number and looked at the time in the ward. It was almost 10 p.m. It's too late. I'll go back now. Good night, Mr. Rong. Good night, rest early. She nodded gratefully and quickly walked out, closing the door behind her. Back in the ward, Li Xicheng sat on the edge of the bed with his phone in his hand, looking sleepy. Chapter 396. Okay. She walked in, took off her coat, and climbed into bed to put her arms around his neck. How come you're awake? He turned around and hugged her, whispering, what did you say? I thanked him, apologized, left my phone number, and came back. Okay. Touching her forehead, he glanced at the time. Are you hungry? Do you want something to eat? No. I don't have an appetite. Then take the medicine. Su Qianxi pouted, a bit unhappy. He lowered his head and pecked her on the lips, whispering, be good. She felt like she was struck by lightning. He kissed her. How could he? Covering her mouth, she widened her eyes, her heart pounding. He saw that and pinched her nose. What reaction? It's not like we've never kissed before. Getting up, he went to get some water. Checking the temperature, he took out a packet of medicine and walked over with the medicine in one hand and the water in the other. Take it. Su Qianxi's hands trembled. Seeing the water, her eyes became even redder. She opened her mouth and said in a trembling voice, Mr. Li, I was raped by someone with HIV. Maybe. I already have AIDS. Don't make excuses. Take the medicine. He poured the medicine out. Open your mouth. Su Qianxi swallowed the words that were on the tip of her tongue. She took the water and looked at the medicine, slightly dazed. You want me to feed you? He arched an eyebrow and approached her dangerously. With my mouth? No, no way. She immediately put the medicine in her mouth and swallowed it with the water. Sleep. He climbed onto the bed and pressed her down. The bed was a bit small, and it was a bit crowded for two people. She could not fall asleep because she had something on her mind. And because Li Xicheng had slept for almost half an hour, he was also not sleepy. Mr. Li, yes? If, one day I have a terminal illness, will you still want me? Yes. What if I get it soon? Yes. I'm going to die soon. Li Xicheng did not speak. He reached out and lifted her face. The light in the ward had been turned off by Li Xicheng. The faint light from the glass on the door shone into the pair of cold and deep eyes, making them look even more magnificent and bottomless. Then I'll die with you. The voice was low and deep, as if it was an ancient voice that had traveled through thousands of years. It reverberated in her mind and did not disperse for a long time. Su Qianxi's heart raced. Her tears fell uncontrollably. She immediately wiped her tears away, fearing that they would fall on him. Choking, she asked, why? We are husband and wife, silly girl. He gazed at her with his deep eyes. I only have you as my wife. Without you, what's the point of living? Su Qianxi lowered her head, put her arms around his waist, and cried, Mr. Li, I'm telling the truth. You think I'm lying? Li Xicheng held her in his arms and pulled her head closer to him. At this distance, in this position, she could clearly feel the vibration of his vocal cords. I'm very serious, Mrs. Li. Last night, when he thought she was really killed, his heart was empty. The only thought in his mind was to be with her, together. Chapter 397. Fortunately, he did not jump. Fortunately, she was fine. Su Qianxi leaned in his arms and said in a muffled voice, You can marry again. If I die, will you marry again? Su Qianxi was dazed. Would he? Would he? No. If he really went ahead of her, she would not hesitate to die with him. Her heart skipped a beat, and she tightened her grip on him. She loved him for 2 lifetimes. However, he never said that he loved her. It turned out that he had such feelings for her. Did he have such deep feelings for her? Su Qianxi hugged him, tears streaming down her face. She sniffed and deliberately said, "Of course, you are dead. Why should I stay with you? It's disgusting to stay with a dead body." When she said this, her heart felt like it had been stung by thousands of bees, and the pain was beyond recognition. So, when she died, go and marry another one. Don't be with her, don't stay with her, it's not worth it, but Li Xicheng's hand was clenched tightly, almost embedding her into his bones. He whispered, "I don't believe it. You won't." "I will." "You won't." Although his voice was soft, it was extremely firm. Su Qianxi did not speak, grabbed his collar, and stared at the chest in front of her in the dark. Although she could not see anything. After a long while, she said in a low voice, "Nothing is more important than yourself." "There is." His voice sounded above her head. "You are more important than myself." His voice was light, particularly beautiful in the quiet ward. Su Qianxi buried her head deeper, crying silently, and closed her eyes. However, his heart was unable to calm down for the entire night. For the next 3 days, Su Qianxi spent in the hospital. After the doctor checked to make sure it was not the flu and did not relapse, she was discharged. Before leaving the hospital, Su Qianxi went to Rong Haiyue's ward to see him. Rong Haiyue was also ready to leave the hospital, dressed in casual clothes and carrying his own luggage. Su Qianxi did not see his legendary wife. When she asked, Rong Haiyue's eyes dimmed. He said, "He is busy and has returned to the capital." She snorted. Li Xicheng was also very busy, but he had been in the hospital with her these 2 days. However, he didn't say anything. Considerately, he didn't ask any more questions and walked out of the hospital together. He offered to drive Rong Haiyue to the airport, and Rong Haiyue did not refuse. After leaving the hospital, she subconsciously looked for Li Xicheng's Maybach. However, no matter how hard he looked, he didn't see anything similar to a Maybach. There was a very flashy and beautiful super sports car parked in front of the hospital, looking like it was waiting for someone. "Yan, is the driver not here yet?" She turned her head and looked at Li Xicheng. Li Xicheng pointed at the Bugatti in front of him. "Coming." Su Qianxi widened her eyes in disbelief and asked, "You changed your car? Don't you hate sports cars? Why did you change to this?" "For a change of mood." Yang got out of the car to open the door for them. Hearing what Li Xicheng said, he pouted inwardly. Stubborn. It was obvious that he had damaged the Maybach and changed it because it was too slow. He changed it to a supercar, and it was a modified 4-seater. He really did not understand the world of the rich. Chapter 398. Because she was taking Rong Haiyue to the airport, Su Qianxi sat in the passenger seat. The new car was indeed fast and stable. Just sitting there, Su Qianxi felt her blood was boiling. Neither of the 2 men in the back seat was talkative. They were both looking out of the window, and the atmosphere seemed a bit awkward. On the airport highway, Su Qianxi finally couldn't help but ask, "Mr. Rong, do you and your wife have children?" "Yes, I have a daughter, the same age as you, named Anna." "Anna?" Su Qianxi looked at him. "Rong Anna? You know her? Bo Xiao's fiancée?" "Yes." Rong Haiyue was a bit surprised. "You know them?" "Yes, I saw her once at a music conference last time. She is a very beautiful girl." "Thank you. If she hears you, she will be so happy." Su Qianxi smiled and looked out of the window. Li Xicheng glanced at him and said calmly, "You love your daughter very much." Yes, she is my only daughter. Li Xicheng glanced at him and did not speak. His eyes fell on Su Qianxi. No one noticed Li Xicheng's strangeness. Rong Haiyue was holding his phone and sending a WeChat message to his daughter, smiling more and more widely. Soon, they arrived at the airport. Su Qianxi was going to take him to the gate, but Rong Haiyue declined. She could not insist, so she turned around and got back in the car. Come to the back. Li Xicheng waved at her, and she obediently sat over, holding his arm and leaning on his shoulder. Li Xicheng noticed that she was not in a good mood. In the past few days, it seemed that Su Qianxi had been like this, and nothing had changed. Putting his hand on her forehead, Li Xicheng whispered, "Are you not feeling well?" He was relieved that she did not have a fever. Su Qianxi slapped his hand away and shook her head. "No. In a bad mood? Have you been in a bad mood these days?" Su Qianxi leaned on his shoulder and did not speak. In the past 2 days, she had indeed been depressed and uncomfortable. "Go to the first hospital," Li Xicheng said to Yang. Then he turned his head and looked at Su Qianxi. "I will take you to see Tang Menjing's child. You haven't seen her yet, right?" She was dazed and looked up. "Right, wasn't she born prematurely? How are you now?" He chuckled and poked her forehead. "I thought you were in a bad mood because of this. It turns out that you have long forgotten about it." Taking out his phone, he opened Weibo and handed it to her. "See for yourself." Su Qianxi took the phone and looked at it. "Why did you change your phone? Didn't you just buy that one?" "It's broken." "Oh." Su Qianxi did not care and refreshed her Weibo. The first trending topic was that the Tang family had gone bankrupt, Mrs. Tang was imprisoned for attempted murder, and Tang Zhenghao was overwhelmed with donations and absconded. Scrolling down, it was Tang Menjing's message. Breaking news. Tang family's eldest daughter's Australian affair video exposed, it's over. Whose child is the Tang family's eldest daughter's unborn child? Paternity test shows Miss Tang's child has nothing to do with the Li family. Is it a coincidence or a mistake? Mistress Tang's child turns out to be mixed blood. Su Qianxi scrolled down one by one and clicked on the last one. The picture was of a little baby lying in an incubator. His skin was extremely white, and a handful of blonde hair was stuck to his scalp, looking not far away. Chapter 399. Su Qianxi exclaimed, "Foreigner? Mixed race?" "Yes." He glanced at it, reached out, and clicked a few times on the phone, pulling up the video that Rong Rui had once hacked. This is the video that Rong Rui provided to Luo Zhan. "Ah, there is such a video. Why didn't you take it out before?" "He refused to take it out before, and I couldn't do anything about it." "Then why did he take it out now?" "You need to ask Chengyu this question." Su Qianxi saw his meaningful expression and blinked. "Chengyu and Rong Rui are together?" "Yes." Li Xicheng suddenly became speechless. Glancing at her, he reached out and knocked her on the head. "What do you mean, together?" Su Qianxi covered her head and shrank back. "It means they are together." "No." Li Xicheng's eyes suddenly became deeper. "Chengyu can't control him." "She can," Su Qianxi said, thinking of Rong Rui's obedience to Chengyu in her previous lifetime. "She has a way to control him." Li Xicheng curled his lips and did not speak. For a person like Rong Rui, unless he was willing, no one could force him. He knew very well what kind of person Chengyu was. She could not control this guy. However, it was not good to refute his wife's words, so he simply shut up. At the Kingstown First Hospital, Li Xicheng took her to the place where the baby was. In the incubators, there were babies lying. The nurse pointed them out, and Su Qianxi looked at one of them on the edge. The white baby looked only the size of a cat, with wrinkled skin. At this moment, its swollen eyes were open, revealing its blue pupils, looking clear and clean. Su Qianxi leaned against the glass and looked into it, a bit dazed. Mixed race. Su Qianxi suddenly said, "Who is the father of the child?" "I don't know." He put an arm around her shoulder. "It's just a one-night stand. There are so many Australians, and it is impossible to find them one by one. Besides, he would not look for them. So poor." Su Qianxi looked at the baby inside. "The child is innocent. The Tang family is already like this. Tang Menjing will certainly not want him. He has no father, and he is premature. Yes, I've checked. This child's lungs aren't very good, and there's also a problem with his breathing tube." Li Xicheng looked at her. "I will give him the best treatment. When he is well, he will be sent to the welfare home." "Send them to the orphanage?" Su Qianxi looked up and found it hard to believe. Such a small child is going to be sent to an orphanage? Yes, this will increase the chances of him being adopted. Li Xicheng looked at her, his eyes darkening. "Do you want to raise him yourself?" She was speechless. Facing his dark eyes, her voice became smaller and smaller. No. She could not even take care of herself. Why should Li Xicheng take care of this child? The world is unfair. It is the child's misfortune to have a mother like Tang Menjing, but he has no choice. Li Xicheng rubbed her hair and whispered, "Don't think too much. If we really raise this child, maybe he will hate us when he grows up. It's not good to work hard." "Okay," she said. "I want to see Tang Menjing." Chapter 400. Li Xicheng took Su Qianxi to Tang Menjing's ward. Tang Menjing was getting in 4 drip, lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling blankly. Seeming to have sensed someone coming in, Tang Menjing's hollow eyes lit up a little, but they were also unfocused. Looking sideways, Tang Menjing saw the two of them, and her hollow eyes burst with undisguised hatred. Tang Menjing suddenly got up, pulled out the needle, and pounced at Su Qianxi. "Ah, you bitch!" The sharp voice penetrated outside. Su Qianxi was startled and subconsciously stepped back. Li Xicheng pulled Su Qianxi away and looked at Tang Menjing coldly. He reached out to stop her from hitting him and immediately pushed her away, showing no mercy at all. Tang Menjing covered her stomach and got up from the ground, looking at Li Xicheng with hatred. "Li Xicheng, Li Xicheng. Ha 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 ha, you are finally here." Then she pounced at him, her voice hoarse with hysterical hatred. "Didn't you say you didn't dare? Didn't you dare?" Li Xicheng was quick to react and carried her out. He reached out and closed the door of the ward, holding it firmly and not loosening his grip. "Ah! Open the door, Li Xicheng, you coward, bastard." Tang Menjing pulled the door handle hard, but no matter how hard she tried, the door would not budge. She stopped pulling and leaned against the glass door, staring at Li Xicheng and roaring, "Come on, kill me. Li Xicheng, you coward, coward." Li Xicheng's eyes were wide open, and he was about to explode. As she roared, she kept slapping the frosted glass door with her hands, leaving bloody handprints on it. Su Qianxi was scared, curled up in Li Xicheng's arms, looking at the door in shock. There were bloody handprints on the glass door one after another. Frightened, Su Qianxi buried her head in Li Xicheng's arms, grabbed his clothes, and said, "Call the doctor, call the doctor." Tang Menjing had a caesarean section. Under the violent movement, the wound split open and bled, and the situation was not optimistic. Su Qianxi watched her being sedated and pushed into the operating room, a bit dazed. "Let's go home." He took her in his arms. "Scared?" She came back to herself, gently shook her head, and looked up at him. "Let's go home." "Yes." After leaving the hospital and getting into the car, Li Xicheng received a call from the old house. Yes, I've been discharged. All right. Tomorrow, she's not feeling well now. Okay. He hung up the phone and said, Grandpa asked you to go to the old house, but I refused. Okay. She was really not in the mood now. Leaning in his arms, she did not move. When she got home, Nanny Rong had already made dinner. She had specially made appetizers and porridge for Su Qianxi. Su Qianxi ate some and soon fell asleep. Lying in bed, she did not know how long she had slept. When she woke up, it was already midnight. Li Xicheng was not there. She checked the time, and it was past 11 p.m. Barefoot, she opened the door and walked out. She immediately saw Li Xicheng in pajamas, standing next to the railing, talking on the phone. Seeing her coming out, Li Xicheng immediately looked at her feet. Frowning, he pointed at her feet unhappily. Chapter 401. Li Xicheng walked in and saw her lying down again. He sat on the edge of the bed and spoke fluent Italian. Su Qianxi understood, lifted the quilt and looked at him. After he hung up, she asked, Are you going on a business trip? Yes, I may have to go to Italy. When? The day after tomorrow. Li Xicheng got under the quilt and held her head. I'll be back soon, in 3 to 5 days. Okay. Su Qianxi was a bit disappointed and looked at him. Are you going to Venice? No. Li Xicheng chuckled and pinched her little face. I'll take you there in the future. I have something to do there this time. Okay. Go to sleep. Li Xicheng held her and kissed her forehead. We'll go to Grandpa's tomorrow. Yeah. Su Qianxi grabbed his shirt on the side of his waist and looked down. Venice, Italy, the romantic capital of water. She wanted to go, always wanted to go. But it was good that he was going on a business trip. She had always wanted to do something but did not dare to do it. If he went to Italy, she could check it out. What if? The light was turned off, and Li Xicheng soon fell asleep. Even breathing came, from the top of her head into her hair. However, her grip on his hand tightened. He fell asleep. In the past few days, he had not touched her at all. Even kissing was very, very rare. Although she resisted his kiss, she knew that she was very likely to have AIDS, so she refused his touch. However, he did not have any feelings for her at all. Could it be that he already knew that she was being raped, but he did not say anything? Thinking of this, she shrank even more, moved her hand away from him, and moved back. So, he did not touch her because he could not get over it, right? Su Qianxi felt a lump in her throat, but she gritted her teeth and did not make a sound. She shifted her body and reached out for her phone. As soon as she pressed the screen, Li Xicheng moved and was woken up by her. A big hand came over and pulled her into his embrace. He whispered in her ear, Can't sleep? Yeah, I slept too much. You sleep, I'll play with my phone for a while. Li Xicheng was indeed exhausted. Too many things had happened in the past few days, and he was almost out of breath. Hearing her words, he responded in a low voice, let go of her hand, and said, Don't be too late. As soon as the big hand moved away, Su Qianxi's heart felt empty, and tears of grievance overflowed from her back to him. Yeah, she responded in a low voice, with an imperceptible tremor. Not noticing, Li Xicheng turned his back and closed his eyes. Su Qianxi bit her fist and let the tears fall. She forced herself not to make a sound. Her body was tense and motionless. After Li Xicheng fell asleep again, she took out her phone, opened the browser, and typed in the keywords, AIDS transmission route. Hundreds of articles popped up, and she clicked on one of them. ****** blood, mother and baby. In daily life, shaking hands, touching, and sleeping would not cause any problems. Kissing and hugging would not spread the virus. Saliva, sweat, and tears would carry a little bit of the virus, but it would not lead to infection. Seeing this, Su Qianxi was reassured. He continued to search for the early symptoms of AIDS. Chapter 402. Some people had the same symptoms as the early stage of AIDS, but it was not necessarily AIDS. AIDS must be tested. Behind her, Li Xicheng woke up again. Startled, Su Qianxi exited the browser and immediately deleted her browsing history. She put the phone aside. He turned around and looked at her. In the dark, he looked even more mysterious. Su Qianxi saw it and asked in a low voice, "What's wrong?" Li Xicheng did not answer. He leaned over, put his leg on her, and closed his eyes comfortably. Being hugged, Su Qianxi also nestled in his arms, staring at his chest motionlessly. She stayed awake for most of the night and did not fall asleep until after midnight. When she woke up, Li Xicheng was already gone. After washing up, she walked out and found that he had been working in the study early in the morning. He was so busy that he could fly. Su Qianxi did not want to disturb him and went downstairs for breakfast. There was a parking space on campus, but it would be too eye-catching to drive to school. Su Qianxi took a taxi and went to school. It was the end of the semester, and her studies were very busy. Su Qianxi had asked for a few days off because of her illness and missed many classes. After a day of classes, Su Qianxi was still studying in the library. Her phone rang. It was Li Xicheng. "Still in class?" "Yes, I'm studying. I promised Grandpa that I would take you there today." Su Qianxi had completely forgotten about it. Now that he reminded her, she suddenly felt like she had just woken up from a dream. She nodded, packed up her books, and rushed out with her backpack. At the school gate, she immediately saw the Bugatti surrounded by a lot of people. Seeing Su Qianxi walking toward the car, many people knew who it was. "It's Mr. Li. Wow, a rich guy is so different. He changed his Maybach to this car. Wow, when can I afford it? This car costs more than 20 million. Su Qianxi blushed, opened the passenger door, and got in. Li Xicheng took her backpack, which was heavy. "Are you done?" she asked. "Yeah." Li Xicheng started the car and drove toward the old house. On the day of Grandpa's birthday party, Ming sent out the peach. "He said you made it yourself." She looked at him and asked, "How did Grandpa react?" "I'm very surprised. I've finished all of them." She couldn't help chuckling. "Really? Can Grandpa finish such a big longevity peach by himself? Really?" Li Xicheng couldn't help but curl his lips. Ming said that he had never seen an old man who could eat so much. Su Qianxi laughed. Thinking of Grandpa's kind face, her heart was slightly warm. In this world, before Li Xicheng, Grandpa was the only person who treated her well. He glanced at her in the rearview mirror and found that although she was smiling, she did not seem to be in a good mood. Or rather, it had been like this for the past few days. She looked normal, but one could see that she was troubled. "Mrs. Li, I'm your husband. If you have any unhappy things, you can tell me. Don't keep it to yourself. It's not good for your health. Okay. Don't you have anything to say to me?" Su Qianxi was dazed and looked at him. He had lost weight recently. Chapter 403. Their eyes met. His eyes were bright and deep, with sharp insight. Su Qianxi felt that she had nowhere to hide in front of him. Quickly looking away, she shook her head. "No." Li Xicheng pursed his lips and did not ask more, driving quietly. He could see that she was in a bad mood. If he asked more, it would only be counterproductive. When they arrived at the old house, it was time for dinner. Lu saw them coming from a distance and greeted them with a basin of water. She complained, "Why did you come back so late? Today is the New Year's Eve. Come and get rid of the bad luck. God bless us." Lu dipped a stick of mugwort in the water and threw it at them. There were grains and charms in the basin. Su Qianxi and Li Xicheng stood at the door after Lu threw the water at them. Captain Li saw Su Qianxi coming in and felt sorry for her. He said, "Oh, Qianqian, how did you lose so much weight?" Su Qianxi was dazed. Had she lost weight? She couldn't help but think of a characteristic of AIDS, extreme thinness. Grandpa could tell at a glance that she had lost weight. How skinny was she? Su Qianxi touched her face and looked at Li Xicheng behind her. Qin Shuhua saw Li Xicheng and said to her father-in-law, "Xicheng is the one who has lost a lot of weight. He has been in the hospital with Su Qianxi for the past 2 days. The company is so busy." "Dad, you are too biased. Qianqian is a girl. This boy is so tenacious. He fell from the mountain when he was a child and did not die. He will not starve to death." Su Qianxi was shocked. Fell from the mountain? When Qin Shuhua heard this, her expression changed dramatically. Li Xicheng went up and patted her on the shoulder. "It's okay. It's all over." Qin Shuhua gritted her teeth and did not respond. She turned around and walked in. Seeing Qin Shuhua like this, Li Xicheng looked at Captain Li with some blame. Grandpa knew he had said something wrong and shut up. Su Qianxi was very curious, but seeing their expressions, she did not ask more. She would ask him at night. After chatting with Grandpa for a while, the family went to the table. Li Beixing and Li Jinan didn't go home. Lu had prepared a table full of delicious food, but not many people were eating. Qin Shuhua picked food for Li Xiao, Captain Li, and Li Xicheng. Su Qianxi ate silently and did not speak. However, she never expected that Qin Shuhua would pick food for her as well. Su Qianxi was flattered and looked at Qin Shuhua. Qin Shuhua looked a bit embarrassed, but when she saw Li Zhao's eyes, she still said, "Qianxi, I used to be obsessed and thought Tang Menjing was good. Now I know what kind of person Tang Menjing is. I have been fooled for a long time. It must have been hard on you. I thought Tang Menjing's child was really Xicheng's. After all, it was a paternity test. I didn't know she could fake something like that. It was my fault. Qianxi, forgive me, okay?" Su Qianxi was a bit scared and looked at Li Xicheng helplessly. He looked at her, his eyes deep. "Mom is talking to you." Su Qianxi suddenly came to herself and whispered, "Mom. I never blamed you." Chapter 404. She looked down and nodded. Yes. After dinner, Captain Li took out the couplets he had written early in the morning, as well as the window decorations that Lu and Qin Shuhua had cut in the past few days. He threw all of them to Li Xicheng and said, "Don't think that you can be lazy just because you came back so late. Go and paste them all for me. Don't miss any." He smiled and took it. Su Qianxi went forward to take some curtains and went to help with the glue. Su Qianxi felt it was a bit difficult to stick them in each room. She felt that her body was getting worse. If it was in the past, she definitely wouldn't be so tired. By the time he was done, 2 hours had already passed. Grandpa asked them to stay at the old house, and Su Qianxi had no objection. However, Li Xicheng had something to deal with and left in a hurry. She was lying in the room alone, staring at the ceiling. It was a silent night. Li Xicheng was scheduled to fly in the afternoon, but he went to Italy in the morning. After the Lunar New Year, Su Qianxi joined the exam team. After the exam, she felt even more exhausted. A few days later, Su Qianxi came to a small hospital far away from them, which had a very good reputation online. Not daring to drive, she took a taxi. Wearing sunglasses and a hat, she checked herself into the infectious disease department, drew her blood, and sat quietly outside. "Dr. Liu, are you sure it is? Did my son really get AIDS?" A woman's voice trembled. Listening to the voice, Su Qianxi did not hesitate. As long as Dr. Liu said yes, the woman would immediately break down and cry. Dr. Liu's voice was very low, and Su Qianxi could not hear what he said, but the woman immediately cried, "Damn it, my son is still so young. What should I do?" Soon, the woman walked out, weeping in despair. She was even more nervous. When it was her turn, she walked in and sat in front of the doctor. The name on the card was Lu Quan, which somehow made Su Qianxi feel familiar. Looking up, she saw a very young man wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. When he saw her, his eyes were a bit obscure. "Take off your sunglasses," said Lu Quan. Su Qianxi heard that and took off her sunglasses, revealing her small face. Lu Quan saw her face and raised his eyebrows. It was really her? After looking at her medical record, Lu Quan asked, "You suspect that you have AIDS?" Su Qianxi shrank back and nodded. "Why? I might have been raped by an AIDS patient," Su Qingsang said. "Are you wearing a condom?" "I don't know." "Are you sure he raped you?" The man's words were too sharp. Su Qianxi's eyes turned red as she shook her head. "I'm not sure. I was knocked out, but when I woke up, my body was in pain, and I had a fever of about 40 degrees. "Oh, then he must be infected with AIDS." Lu Quan threw the medical record aside, leaned back on the chair, yawned, and said, "The probability of HIV transmission is most likely through sexual intercourse. In this case, have you slept with your husband?" Su Qianxi's heart was stabbed, and her tears suddenly fell. She shook her head and choked, "No." Chapter 405. However, she quickly thought of what she had read online and asked, "Didn't they say it would take 6 weeks to get the results?" There was a trace of regret in Lu Quan's eyes, but when he saw her tears, he felt a sense of satisfaction. However, he quickly put on a sympathetic expression. "It's probably still in the incubation period, so it's not shown on the report. But you're already in this situation, so you'll definitely be infected. You should go back and prepare." She couldn't help crying. "What should I do? I don't want to die yet." "There's nothing you can do if you don't want to die. Who told you to do it with someone?" Lu Quan shrugged helplessly. "All right, don't cry. I advise you to go back now and confess to your husband. Let's see how we can resolve this." How dare she? How dare she? Tell him that she had been raped and that she might even have AIDS? Or could it be that he already knew? She stood up and walked out, and Lu Quan couldn't help laughing. Picking up his cell phone, he called his sister Lu Anan. She quickly picked up. "Hello? Hey, Anan, I helped you get revenge. How are you going to thank me?" When Su Qianxi got home, she did not even eat and just hid in her room crying. Nanny Rong was terrified, but Su Qianxi would not open the door no matter how hard she knocked. After crying for a long time, Su Qianxi fell asleep. When she was half asleep, she felt someone was taking off her clothes. Su Qianxi suddenly woke up and grabbed the hand. Startled by her sudden movement, he quickly helped her up and took off her coat. "I heard from Nanny Rong that you haven't eaten yet." His voice was low and deep, sounding tired. It was not hard to tell that he had come back in a hurry. It was the 4th day of his business trip. Su Qianxi pursed her lips and burst into tears again. He wiped her tears away and said helplessly, "Why are you crying?" She wiped her tears on her sleeves and threw herself into his arms, sobbing. Li Xiqing let her cry, reached out to touch her hair, pulled her up, held her face, and bent down to look at her. "What's wrong? Did you suffer outside?" She shook her head and gritted her teeth, crying so hard that her nose was running. Li Xicheng chuckled and took 2 tissues from the bed to wipe away her snot. "You look so ugly. I can't bear to look at you." She blushed and looked away, wiping away her tears and snot before saying, "Mr. Li, He took off his jacket, threw it on the sofa, leaned toward her, and looked at her. "What do you want to say?" Su Qianxi's eyes became red again. Li Xicheng sighed, hugged her, and said, "It's too cold outside. It's more comfortable to hug my wife." Su Qianxi blinked, and his lips were already on hers. The kiss went from shallow to deep. Su Qianxi's heart pounded, and she hugged him. He hugged her and pushed her onto the bed. Lifting her sweater with his big hand, he reached under her clothes, breathing faster and faster. She suddenly thought of something, raised her head, and shouted, "No." Chapter 406. Su Qianxi's clothes were taken off very quickly. Blushing, she still gritted her teeth and refused. "No, no." "Why?" He stopped and looked at her. Su Qianxi stuttered, her heart palpitating. When the words were on the tip of her tongue, her tears fell again, and she burst into tears. Li Xicheng was confused by her crying, so he stopped asking and leaned over to press her down. Su Qianxi only had a pair of bottoms left, and nothing else, just her underwear. Li Xicheng reached in and unbuckled her bra. She shrank back, trying to push his hand away, but he was even more aggressive. Spreading her legs with his thighs, he put his knee between her legs and whispered, "I'm more excited when you do this." Su Qianxi suddenly stopped moving. Li Xicheng curled his lips and kissed her neck sincerely. Every touch was like a feather, gently tickling her all the way to her heart. Su Qianxi burst into tears again. Choking, she said, "Mr. Li, Her soft voice made Li Xicheng's already restless beast even more uncontrollable. He moved forward and gently rubbed her neck through her clothes. Su Qianxi clearly sensed him and shrank back. Panting and scared, she whispered, "Let's get a divorce." Li Xicheng narrowed his eyes, feeling dangerous. Lowering his head, the tip of his nose against the tip of his nose, they looked at each other. What's the reason this time? Li Xicheng was really angry. Looking at her, he felt she was a naughty child. "If you say that too much, it will no longer be romantic, Mrs. Li." Su Qianxi burst into more tears. Putting her hand on his chest, she said, However, he obviously did not want to hear her out. He kissed her lips, unzipped her pants, and pulled them down. Su Qianxi struggled even harder, but he was so aggressive that she could not fight back at all. Crying even harder, Su Qianxi finally couldn't take it anymore and said loudly, "Mr. Li, I was raped." "Do you know that?" Li Xicheng paused and suddenly composed himself. His eyes were like that of an ancient beast, dangerous. "What did you say?" She burst into tears, desperate to the extreme. Under him, she was so wrong that she could not speak. He let go of her and helped her up. Wiping away her tears, he asked in a low and dangerous voice, "Who is it?" "During my business trip?" She sobbed hard, unable to say a word. "Louis-Han." Li Xicheng said what he was thinking, and his heart sank. Hearing that, Su Qianxi stopped crying, took his hand, and shook her head. "No, no, who is that?" Other than Louis-Han, Li Xicheng could not think of anyone else with such a motive and courage. She sniffled, and he suppressed his impatience, took 2 tissues, and wiped her tears. Chapter 407. Li Xicheng looked at her and suddenly laughed. He asked in a deep voice, "Which hospital are you from?" Su Qianxi shuddered and stopped crying. "You went to the mental hospital, right?" Gritting his teeth, Li Xicheng poked her head with his finger. "How can you be so stupid? What's in your head?" Was your brain filled with water when you were a child? She felt wronged and cried even harder. She slapped him on the shoulder and yelled, "You are stupid. You are the one with water in your head." He felt angry and amused. He grabbed her hand and pushed her down again. Ignoring the tears and snot on her face, he lowered his head and kissed her hard. The unexpected kiss made Su Qianxi struggle even more. Angrily, she patted his back. She had said she had AIDS. Why did he still kiss her? Why did he still kiss her? Didn't he know it was contagious? Su Qianxi was very angry, but she couldn't help feeling sad and wronged. Her heart seemed to be grasped by him, aching so much that tears kept falling. She didn't want to die yet. She didn't want him to be infected by her and die with her. However, she couldn't break free. He took the air from her mouth, moved his lips down, and bit her collarbone. She cried, "Li Xicheng, you pervert. Don't touch me. Don't bite me. You are a pervert, and a stupid little pervert." Li Xicheng was disappointed and bit her collarbone harder, making her cry out, "It hurts. You know it hurts." Huh. In the end, Li Xicheng still couldn't bear to do it too harshly. Kissing her on the lips, he turned her face to look at him. "Tell me, how could such a smart person like me be defeated by you?" Su Qianxi felt insulted and gave him a stare. What did he mean? Was he saying she was stupid? Not convinced? He felt angry and amused. Gritting his teeth, he said, "If you are not convinced, then don't be so stupid in the future. Do you think you were raped by that girl with AIDS?" Su Qianxi pursed her lips and almost cried her heart out. "That person did take the medicine, but when I went over, he hadn't completely acted up. It was only after I beat the old woman up that he acted up." She stared at him incredulously and blurted out, "You hit a woman?" Li Xicheng was speechless. He glanced at her gloomily and said matter-of-factly, "In that kind of situation, it would be good if I didn't kill her." And then? Then the medicine took effect on the monkey. I gave the old woman to him. Su Qianxi's eyes widened. She wanted to say something, but her voice was drowned out by a sob. He wanted to teach her a lesson, but seeing her crying like this, he suddenly felt reluctant. Annoyed, he got up and took a few tissues to wipe her tears. Annoyed and depressed, he said, "Do you know how pigs die?" Su Qianxi reached out and pushed him hard, angry. Li Xicheng leaned down again and whispered, "Are you angry?" Su Qianxi looked away and tried to recall in her mind. Li Xicheng chuckled. "Don't you know if you've ever been touched by anyone?" Chapter 408. When I woke up, I had such a high fever, and my whole body was in pain. She sounded aggrieved. "And you made love to me for so long the day before, and I still hurt there. Who knows if it was you or someone else?" Li Xicheng said. "So it's my fault?" "It's your fault." Su Qianxi yelled angrily and stared at him with a red face, seeming that if he did not admit his mistake, she would cry. Li Xicheng chuckled and said, okay, it's my fault." Perfunctory. However, she looked away and couldn't help smiling. Li Xicheng looked at her and whispered, "You're not crying anymore." Su Qianxi looked away, avoiding his face. He leaned in again and was about to kiss her. She looked away in disgust and turned her head away. He leaned in again, and she avoided again. This time, he did not manage to kiss her. Not kissing her, he lowered his head and kissed her on the neck, making her exclaim. "I feel bad," he complained, grabbing her hand and touching it. "I've been without food for so long. It's time to give me some benefits, Mrs. Li, wait a minute." She pushed him. "But when I was in a coma, I felt someone was taking off my clothes. That was definitely not an illusion." Li Xicheng paused and said calmly, "Probably not. It should be Rong Haiyue." Him? Taking off my clothes? Yes, he picked you up from the water and took off your sweater and coat. He was injured at that time. Although he was not very happy, taking off the sweater and coat did save a lot of energy. Oh. She understood. He saved me. I know. She shivered sensitively. He kissed her and said in a low voice, "When the new year, we will go to the capital to visit and thank him." Okay. Ah. Don't touch there, what about here? He pulled down her pants and took off her clothes. He couldn't wait to get rid of the restraints on his body. Su Qianxi felt a bit cold because of the wind caused by his movements. She reached for the quilt and covered him with it. Su Qianxi flinched and thought of something. She asked, "Where is Tang Mengqing?" Tang Zhenghao fled with the money, Mrs. Tang was in jail, and Tang Menjing was behaving like that. Where was Tang Mengqing? She lives at my uncle's house. He leaned against her. She is good friends with Wuxia. Oh, you still have the mood to think about others? He folded her legs and rubbed them gently. She still found it hard to believe. Pushing him, she asked, "Are you sure what you said is true?" I wasn't. Li Xicheng was speechless. Taking her hand away, he bent over and whispered, "Now I do." Su Qianxi groaned and looked annoyed when she heard that. Pushing him away, she said, "You bad guy. Don't you like it, huh?" Li Xicheng's voice rose slightly. No. Ah. Chapter 409. Gritting his teeth, he put on his clothes and picked her up without saying a word. Feeling guilty, she looked at him weakly and grabbed his collar like a child who had done something wrong. She whispered, "I can walk by myself." Shut up. Li Xicheng was very annoyed. He carried her downstairs, took his car keys and wallet, and walked her to his car. Su Qianxi did not say anything. She heard that a man with an insatiable appetite was the worst. Although he felt wronged, he was still rational. Gently putting her in the passenger seat, he went to the driver's seat and sat down. However, he was not in a hurry to start the car. He took out a pack of cigarettes, lit one, and took a long drag before he started the car. Feeling better, Su Qianxi looked at the night view outside the window and felt a bit dazed. It seemed like a long time since she came back to life. She felt like she was dreaming. Su Qianxi looked out the window for a long time before looking at him. With the cigarette in his mouth, Li Xicheng noticed her gaze, glanced at her, took the cigarette, and blew out a long smoke. In the winter night, the white smoke shrouded his face, making his originally delicate and tough facial features appear even colder and more distinct. They were silent the whole way. When they arrived at the hospital closest to Wuxia Hospital, it was more than 10 minutes later. The burning desire was mostly gone in the cold wind of the winter night. He wanted to carry her out of the car, but she thought it was too embarrassing and insisted on walking on her own. He had to give up and take her to the gynecological emergency department. After a series of tests, the doctor looked at her with a strange expression and asked, "When did you find your stomach uncomfortable?" Su Qianxi blushed and told the truth. The doctor pushed up his glasses and asked, "When was your last period?" More than 20 days ago." "Is your period usually accurate?" "Yes, it's either a day earlier or a day later, okay." The doctor nodded and said a name that Su Qianxi did not understand to a nurse not far away. Soon, the nurse left. When the doctor came back, he handed a box to Su Qianxi. "Go and try it." Seeing the name on it, Su Qianxi was dumbfounded. Pregnancy test. She went to the bathroom and used it according to the nurse's instructions. Looking at the 2 red lines, she was a bit dazed and took out 2 more. There were a total of 3 test papers, 2 positive and 1 weak positive. She didn't know how she got out of the bathroom. Seeing him walking over, she blinked and called, "Honey." Li Xicheng looked at her. "Yes?" He smelled like tobacco. Obviously, he had smoked again. Hearing his response, she suddenly screamed and threw herself at him, wrapping her arms around his neck. Honey, 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 Li Xicheng's first reaction was to hold her in his arms. Lowering his head, he asked in a low voice, "What's wrong?" She hugged him tightly and then suddenly let go of him. Holding his hand excitedly, she said with a serious face, "I have something very important to tell you." Li Xicheng raised an eyebrow and looked at her hand. She hid it behind her and pretended to be unhappy. What happened? He reached out and was about to grab her hand. She dodged and said, "Don't move. Stand there." Okay. He stopped moving and looked at her. She took out a pregnancy test, waved it in front of him and asked, "Do you know what this is?" Chapter 410. Hearing that, Su Qianxi's good mood suddenly disappeared. She reached out and punched him. Li Xicheng's cold and deep eyes became softer, holding her fist. Su Qianxi's punch missed, and she kicked him with her foot. This time, Li Xicheng did not avoid it. His eyes were full of joy, and his face was always cold. He reached out and pulled her over, taking out the test papers behind her. The three objects and the bright red line stimulated Li Xicheng's vision. His lips became wider and wider. Su Qianxi was a bit annoyed and hit his chest. "You are so ignorant. You have short hair and short vision." Li Xicheng hugged her from behind, looked down at her face, and whispered, "Well, I don't see that this is a pregnancy test at all." When Su Qianxi heard that, the unhappiness on her face disappeared instantly. She reached out and pinched his face, saying angrily, "You are playing with me." Li Xicheng's smile became wider and wider, holding her hand, and whispered, "You played with me first, Mrs. Li." Seeing his rare smile, Su Qianxi chuckled, wrinkled her nose, and looked disgusted. "Go away. Did you already know? I just saw the nurse go to get the pregnancy test paper." "No wonder." Su Qianxi was a bit disappointed and pushed him. "Can't you pretend to be surprised by me?" "Why do I have to pretend?" Li Xicheng's eyes were sparkling, as if he wanted to suck her in. He couldn't help putting his hand on her lower abdomen. Su Qianxi smiled happily and took his hand away. "Go away, I'm going to see the doctor." "Okay." Li Xicheng watched her walk into the clinic, and his forced calmness finally broke. He clenched his fists and hit his thigh hard, feeling that he was going crazy. She was pregnant, she was pregnant. He was going to be a father, he was going to be a father. The sudden surprise made Li Xicheng's heart beat faster and faster, and he almost couldn't help cheering. Under the strange gaze of the people around him, Li Xicheng picked up his phone, hid in the hospital stairwell, and immediately called his good friend. At 10:00 in the evening, Ming took a box of condoms he had just bought and hid in the bathroom. He held a sterilized needle that he had asked his subordinate to take from the hospital and poked it. Suddenly, a voice rang out, and Ming was startled. When he realized it was his phone, he breathed a sigh of relief. "My goodness, I really can't do bad things. Once I do bad things, I'll feel guilty." Rubbing the lubrication from the condom, Ming took out his phone from his pocket. After seeing it was Li Xicheng, he felt a little bored. This guy had been too happy recently. He didn't want to see him. "Hang up." Lowering his head, he continued poking and poking. However, Li Xicheng did not give up, and his phone rang again. Despite his impatience, Ming picked up the phone. "Hello?" "Ha ha ha." Ming." Ming shivered and looked at the caller. F***CK, was it really Li Xicheng? Did you see a ghost? Ming wasn't in a good mood. He put the condom back into the box. "You're smiling like that. If I didn't know better, I would have thought you were going to give birth." Hearing that, Li Xicheng couldn't help laughing. Oh Ming shivered and hung up the phone without hesitation. When this guy laughed, it was either a good thing or a bad thing. Listening to his retarded laughter, there was no doubt that it was a good thing. Chapter 411. If it was something bad, he would definitely be very interested. The phone rang for the third time, and Oh Ming directly hung up. After dealing with the evidence, he slowly put the condoms in his pocket. After finding that Yu Lily was still sleeping, he secretly put them where he usually put them. Very quietly, very quietly. The familiar voice woke Yu Lily up from her sleep. Seeing Yu Lily's astonished look, he pretended to be indifferent, closed the drawer, stood up, and said indifferently, "Replenish the national treasury. It's used up." Yu Lily's eyes were filled with shock. Yu Lily didn't know what to say. Yu Lily gave him a big look. "You want to do it again? How can I not kill you?" Oh Ming heard that and directly rushed over, smiling wickedly. "Are you willing to do it? F***ck off." Yu Lily did not give him any face and directly lifted her foot to kick him away. "Answer the phone. It's so noisy." Being kicked away, Oh Ming breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that this woman did not suspect anything. I was scared to death. Picking up the phone, Oh Ming was impatient. "I say, Lao Air, don't be crazy in the middle of the night. It will affect the city. My wife is pregnant." Oh Ming was speechless. 100,000 critical hits. "My wife is pregnant. My wife is pregnant. My wife is pregnant." Oh Ming was speechless. "Did you hear that? My wife is pregnant." "Oh, haha. Idiot." Oh Ming did not want to listen and directly hung up. Yu Lily saw his sneer and asked curiously, "Why is Li Xicheng looking for you?" "He said that his wife is pregnant." Yu Lily heard that and asked, "Isn't that a good thing? Why are you scolding him?" "I don't have a wife. I don't even have a pregnant one." Oh Ming's face was full of resentment. He directly rushed over and kissed Yu Lily. Yu Lily struggled hard and scolded, "Hey, Oh Ming, you promised to do it twice. If you do this again, I won't play with you anymore. I'm telling you." Oh Ming was honest. He got up, pressed her down, turned her over, and let her lie down. "Go to sleep. Don't touch me. F***ck, you even kissed her. Go away, go away, go away." Ah, the one with the surname O. Su Qianxi had not eaten at night, and her stomach was growling. Suddenly craving seafood porridge, Li Xicheng drove around for a long time before he found a chain congee restaurant. It was supper time, so she ordered a lot of barbecue, porridge, and various cold dishes. Sitting there, Li Xicheng secretly curled his lips and scrolled through his contacts. He had already called all the people he could think of. As long as they had a good relationship with each other, they would brag about it. Especially when he called the old house, Li Xicheng was smiling like a fool. Su Qianxi looked at him and smiled. Qin Shuhua was overjoyed. She asked Su Qianxi to answer the phone and gave her a lot of instructions. Grandpa warned Li Xicheng, "Young man, there is a knife in your head." Su Qianxi blushed when she heard it in the car with the speaker on. Li Xicheng scrolled through the contacts, looked at the time, and said, "Luo Zhan lives nearby. Ask him to come down." Then he called Luo Zhan. Su Qianxi seemed to remember that Louis Han's house was not far from here. As a nerd, Luo Zhan was certainly doing what a nerd should do at this time. Hearing the phone ring, his hands suddenly trembled. Oh no, dash. Chapter 412. Seeing another pentakill, Luo Zhan was so heartbroken that he almost smashed his phone. Damn, it's winter vacation. What a bunch of elementary school students. What a scam. Ah, my rank. Luo Zhan threw away the large-screen phone, picked up the phone that was ringing non-stop in front of him, and shouted angrily, "Hello." Li Xicheng narrowed his eyes and asked dangerously, "Where are you?" Luo Zhan immediately calmed down and replied, "At home. I am at the porridge shop near your house. Come down." Not allowing any more questions. "Okay," this was Li Xicheng. "Supper?" "Yes." "Okay, I'll be right there." Luo Zhan threw the phone away, quickly picked up a coat, and went out. Li Xicheng hung up and found that Su Qianxi was also on the phone. The call seemed to have been connected. "Hello, Yihan?" "Lu Yihan?" Li Xicheng was a little unhappy, pursing his red lips and looking at her with a pair of deep eyes. Su Qianxi blinked and continued, "Where are you?" Lu Yihan was running at night, answering the phone while running slowly, slightly panting. "I am running outside." "What's wrong?" "I am at the XX park near your house. Come over if you have time. I have something to tell you." "Okay." Lu Yihan looked around. "Give me 10 minutes. "Okay, I am in room 88. "Okay, see you later." Lu Yihan hung up the phone and started running again, but this time, he was much faster than before. At the door of the porridge shop that Su Qianxi mentioned, Lu Yihan stopped, calmed his breath, and walked in. However, when he entered, a huge force hit him from behind. Lu Yihan was caught off guard and almost fell. Turning his head, he saw a man in a gray coat with a hood over his head. His hair was a bit messy under the hood. He apologized to Lu Yihan, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Lu Yihan looked over and found that this person was a bit familiar. His expression became strange. "It's you?" Luo Zhan took a closer look and recognized Lu Yihan. Today, Lu Yihan was wearing a set of dark blue sports clothes and the latest dark blue Jordan shoes. He looked quite sunny. "I didn't mean to." Luo Zhan quickly waved his hand. "It's so late. Why are you here?" "Not on purpose." If someone else had said this, he might have believed it. But this guy. From the first time Lu Yihan saw him, he felt very uncomfortable. She turned around and decided to ignore him. She asked the attendant, "Where's room 88? "This way, please." The waiter led Lu Yihan to the end of the corridor. However, Luo Zhan also immediately followed, curling up into a ball. Lu Yihan felt a little disgusted. He stopped and said impatiently, "Why are you following me?" "What do you mean I'm following you? I'm also going to room 88. Why don't you say you're following me? This is ridiculous." Luo Zhan sneered and squeezed past him. He pushed the door open and shouted, "Brother, why are you looking for me so late at night?" Li Xicheng was peeling the shrimp shell for Su Qianxi. His movements were slow and elegant. Seeing Luo Zhan coming in, followed by Lu Yihan, Li Xicheng chuckled. "When did you two start dating?" You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.